This episode of the Co-optional Podcast is proudly sponsored by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain name, website, or online store, make your next move with squarespace.com/cooptional. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-optional Podcast here on the 20th of February 2018.
What? This year is already flying by.
It is.
How's this happening?
As quickly as possible.
It's the quickening, man. It's the quickening.
The quickening.
It's the quickening, man.
That was not what the quickening was about, Jesse. It was about the Highlander.
Are you
the only one?
Are you sure this year's not going to end with a fight in an abandoned warehouse where glass shatters? And I don't know how this year's going to end for me.
It's a good point.
It's going to happen.
It's true.
It's
I
going to
thought
happen.
the quickening was when you absorbed the soul of your defeated enemy.
That's my plan.
Okay.
Jesse versus the world.
I'm going to just
Which enemy
decapitate and absorb.
specifically do we have to worry about here? Or
Which what?
which enemy specifically are we having to worry about here?
That guy, that dude, he's like 10 feet tall, and he used to be, I think, a Viking, but then he became a skinhead gangbanger. You know that guy.
What?
That guy.
The guy
He's
on
trouble.
Game of Thrones?
No, the guy from Highlander. That guy.
Oh, you're talking about Highlander. I was like, what are you mentioning? What is going on right
The
now?
quickening. What?
I got
Keep up,
it now.
Sinvicta. Keep up, Sinvicta.
It was very, very vague. Okay.
That's your fault, not mine.
What was the name of the guy? It's something like Hartigan or Gratigan or Schmartigan.
It was something, yes, like that.
Ergigan, something.
It was Cardigan. It was Cardigan. Yeah.
And
Yes,
now,
that was it.
only one, he wasn't a Viking. He was more of a steppe nomad. Sure he was, chat. Sure he was.
Kurgan. Yeah, that's it. Well done, Valakil.
It was Kerrigan.
It was.
So yeah,
it was
Kurgan, and the only way I can defeat him by the end of the year, I have to find myself a old Spanish Scotsman.
Yes. I'm Spanish.
I'm definitely Spanish.
I love tapas. Let me show you how to swing a sword.
I'm from Lisbon,
where I'm clearly from.
That's why I talk like this. Yeah,
I loved him on Celebrity Jeopardy on SNL. He was good.
Yep.
It's just mean about his mum, isn't he? That's pretty much it.
It's
So welcome to the
amazing
show,
how-
everyone.
Yeah,
we
hi.
have so much Highlander and yet so little good Highlander.
There's one good Highlander. You're right. There's a lot of the Highlander 2. I don't know if there was a Highlander 3.
There was
Highlander. There was Highlander.
There was another one as
2,
well.
which was terrible.
Yeah.
There was another Highlander, which was like Highlander Endgame or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Was
that was
Lambert in
after
that?
3. There
Yes.
were 3 of them, then there was Endgame, and there was a whole television series.
There was. which was
Here's
good.
the thing. I like that TV show. I enjoyed that shit. It was campy and weird. I loved it.
If done now, it would probably be fine.
TV used to be shit. Let's be honest. It
Yeah.
used to be really, really bad.
It was actually quite terrible.
I mean, Xena Warrior Princess. Anybody? I watched that show, and at the time, I remember thinking, "This is a pretty good show." But if that came out now, you'd think, "How many
This
pounds
is
do they spend on this? This is like £5 an
The
episode."
worst.
I think.
Yeah. The standards for television have gone up quite significantly, let's be
Yeah.
frank. I was
Audiences-
watching Altered Carbon recently on Netflix. I'm thinking,
Yeah,
that is a lot of very good CG.
yeah.
And that
I still
is
didn't
a
quite- I
lot
still
of
didn't
full
quite get it
frontal
when it was a show,
nudity.
Yeah, there's a lot of nudity.
A lot of full frontal nudities. I'm thinking that's where most of the money went, into contracts to get them to agree to that. It's like, that is a lot of money being thrown at a television show. But
It
you
is.
know what? Turned out pretty good, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm sure it gets a lot of viewers. Sci-fi is very hot. I also know I have a friend who works in TV production, and she said
Sci-fi is very
sci-fi is very hot.
It's very hot right now. Yeah.
Dystopia.
Very hot.
Next year, dystopia. That's what's coming. Get ready for it.
Dystopia. I mean, we're kind of halfway there, aren't we? I mean, I wouldn't call Altered Carbon a particularly happy show.
No, but I think next year specifically, there's going to be a lot of dystopian.
We're going full on dystopia. All right.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Hey, we're practically there already. Why not make a TV show about it?
Yeah, and everything's hot.
It's hot, baby.
Dystopia
Hot
is
right
hot.
now.
Sci-fi used to be hot. Now it's dystopia. Hot.
Just hot.
I want to like work at the executive sort of Hollywood place that you work at, where everything's just hot, baby.
It's hot.
It's hot.
Well, here's my friend that works in TV. She went for a meeting with one of the big higher up guys. Very strange guy, had an assistant, and he would be very nice to whoever was there for the meeting and just scream obscenities at his assistant. And she came into the office and she sat down in like the chair in front of the desk. He went, "What are you doing?" She said, "Well, I'm sitting in the chair." He was like, "Don't sit on that chair. That chair's worth like so many thousands of dollars. Just stand there." So she just had to stand. She wasn't allowed to sit in the chair. I was
So
like,
what
"Who's
the
he
bloody
sitting in
hell
the
was
chair
the point
for?"
of the chair? Putting the chair there then.
Why put the chair there? But he was like, "What are you doing to sit in that chair? How dare you? Like, stand." So she just had to stand in front of the desk for like this quite long meeting where they're talking about TV. It was like, "Right, you go now." Shout at
That
his assistant
sounds
somewhere.
like a job where someone is being paid just to be abused by somebody, which doesn't seem to be particularly good, really.
Well, she doesn't have to see him very often, to be fair. He's like the higher ups just shout a few things every few months, and you go off and do your job. And you come in and talk to the higher ups, and they shout at you some more. And TV spits out the other end. That's how it works. It's the magic of television.
Yeah, television is so great.
I mean, it sounds great.
Doesn't it? Who
Yeah.
wouldn't want to work in TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna-
that's the first thing I dreamed of as soon as Disney bought Polaris. I'm like, finally, my opportunity has come.
To work in TV. Get
To
shouted
work
at. by
specifically in children's television, yes.
I'll stick to my getting shot at by people on the internet instead.
somebody. Much easier.
Because they,
Always
yeah,
the
because
best.
yeah, and they don't pay me for it, so they can shout at me all they want. It's mutual.
What?
What? Wait, what?
What?
How does it work that
They don't
way?
pay me for it, so they can shout at me all they want. Is
No.
that how this works?
Right.
Yeah, because you
okay.
you can ignore them.
Let me
they're
give
not-
you a piece of business advice. They can shout at you as much as you want, but they have to pay you for it. That is a much
that's
better
what a-
business model.
But that's what a boss would do. Because the internet yells at you for free, you can just simply ignore them and not do what they tell you to.
You
See
can.
what I mean?
Yeah, but what about if you
No.
monetize that?
Well, I'm on YouTube, so nothing I do is monetized anymore. So.
You got Twitch as well.
Roasted.
You got Patreon.
I do have
You're
Twitch.
fine.
I do have Twitch and Patreon.
Yeah,
Thank
can-
you, by the way.
You can use those.
Yeah. You can go find that over at I'll
Well,
save that for the
well done on the plug there. Really good. He had one
What
shot
the
at
plug
that.
of...
He had one
Hey,
shot at that. He just blew it up.
Hey, I did not go to the Krendor School of Shilling, all right? I'm respectful of my shilling.
You went to the Mumble School of Mumbling.
Yes.
Yeah.
You still wasted an equal amount of everybody's time. It's just you got nothing out of it.
Yeah. It's all mumble rap in the end. I need to release an album.
That's for the old school kids.
Well, it's a
What was
corruption
that?
podcast. We do
I'm an old school
occasionally.
kid. What's zzz?
It's from YTMND,
Oh,
brah.
Oh, I used to visit there from time to time, and I don't remember that existing.
It's
It
still
was
around.
great.
Yeah,
It's still. I would not go there. I'm convinced it's filled with viruses
I
right now.
probably wouldn't go there now. No, that's probably a bad idea.
Someone should go and tell us what they found.
It's still there. Go and look for "Oh Holy Shit," which is one of my favorite YTMNDs ever. Of the guy singing "Oh Holy Night" and nailing it, and it's wonderful.
I always love the flame wreath one from what is the name of that WoW raid boss in Karazhan? The one that's in the library that casts the flame wreath. I will not move when flame wreath is cast. Or the raid blows up. What was the name of it?
Crimson
Shade-
Librarian.
Shade of Iran. That's who it was.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it was
Tip
done
of my
by
tongue. Yeah.
Brew Guy was the name of
almost
the
got it,
guy
Brew.
that sung that. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, he used to do a little WoW songs. They were pretty
Mhm.
good.
that was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, so I remember that one. YTMND, where memes actually took effort. Everything went
Yep.
downhill from there.
Yep.
It is true.
Oh, The memes you kids have these days are garbage, low effort memes.
Garbage.
They really are.
Garbage memes.
Dig the
They
memes out of the
really are
ground with your bare hand.
15 miles to the nearest
Oh,
keyboard.
Uphill
Absolutely
both
disgusting.
ways.
And we didn't have none of these fancy animated GIFs. We had nothing but copy-pasted wallpapers on YTMD.
Well, if you millennials will stop wasting all of your currency on avocado toast, then you'd get some good memes out there every once in a while. But no, it's never going to
You
happen.
could buy a meme house like the rest of us.
Indeed. A white picket fence. Welcome to the Corruptional Podcast. We do occasionally talk about video games. We did bring our guest, who actually hadn't been on the show for like 3 years, unbelievably. He'd managed to avoid us for that long. Yeah, unbelievably.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I was still downstairs, I think, at
That's
that
good.
point.
Yeah,
Now I'm
well,
upstairs. I've elevated myself to the top floor of the house. It's like getting a promotion. I have a window view. I have a whole bunch of crap behind me. And,
yeah, you got
it's
things
like
you can point to when you don't agree with people. So that's
the
good.
no sign, which is a good one. Yeah.
Yep, that's a good example of that. But yeah, you managed to avoid us for a whole 3 years, which I mean, I wouldn't call that a solid record. I think there's people who've definitely managed longer than that. But that's more of a case of, did we invite them back at any point? And the answer is probably no.
I was
But-
not. This is the first time you've invited me back in 3 years, I think. So I
Yes.
think the burden is on you in that regard. But
It
yeah.
is, yes. The burden was definitely on us for not doing that. And then we did so, and then you got sick, proving our point that we should have never invited you in the first
Yeah,
place.
maybe.
What's
'cause
the
you're
matter with you,
unreliable.
Pyrion? How could you get sick?
You're
I went to
injury-prone.
China. I went to Shanghai.
Well, that is
and,
your first mistake.
Yeah, I went there for a DOTA event, and I was fine. I was on the plane coming back, and on the plane, I started getting a terrible headache, and I thought, "Oh my god, tell me I'm not coming down with something." 2 weeks of flu, and I'm just now getting over it. I'm better now, but
Sounds
yeah, it
about
was
right.
pretty bad. The sickest I've been with the flu ever, hands down. Chinese type 2 flu or something. My wife told me
Chinese
it.
type 2
Chinese
flu.
Type 2.
type 2 flu. It rhymes, which
That
is even
sounds
more
made up.
sad.
Type 2 flu.
Hey,
Pretty bad.
that's the next mumble rap track right there.
There you go.
Oh, no, type flu.
Type 2 flu. Type 2
Yeah.
flu. Type 2. Achoo. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, just let Hobson get a
I
hold
got
of
the
it.
type 2 flu. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Jesse's got it.
Has he? God, I'm sorry. Get in bed. Drink lots of water. Take lots of paracetamol. You'll be right.
Indeed. So some people also might be wondering where Dodgers went off to. Well, Dodger is getting along when it comes to the whole preggers thing. So she is away visiting her parents at the moment. I believe she's back next week, as far as I'm aware. So to make sure that we did fill in our mandatory Twitch diversity quota, we couldn't find a woman, but we did find a half Asian. So that counts.
I
Hi,
wonder where
everybody.
you're going with that. Yeah.
Also, I'm a dog, so, we're good on that front. I think we should be all right.
I mean, I feel like I'm doing at least something halfway decently if you guys have invited me back again. And it didn't take you 3 years.
It's mostly
so.
you around.
Yeah, I'm usually I'm the friend that's on call. It's like, hey, we need a last minute fill. I'm like, I'm a giant loser. I could do it. Sign me up, TB.
Yeah,
And then
I
I just
did
take constant
actually,
abuse.
against my better judgment, invite Krendor, and then he said, "Oh, I'm getting my gallbladder removed today." I'm like, "Well, that's a
Yeah, what the
reasonable
fuck?
excuse." Well,
Yeah.
How old is he? How old is he? I mean, I thought that was.
I don't have a
something I'd be-
gallbladder.
Oh, that's a big
I don't
nerd.
have
Yeah,
one
what the
either.
Fuck?
They get rid of those any opportunity they get. Like any other surgeries, like, oh, you want gallbladder out as well? You might as well. It's just gonna cause problems later in life. I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah, he bought the 3 for 1 IKEA special for surgeries.
So
Next
is there something wrong with my gallbladder? Should I just get it removed?
I mean, the gallbladder just causes problems and has basically no practical purpose, so you might as well.
Doesn't
yeah.
it give me gumption or gall or something?
I
bile?
don't think. Well, certainly gives you bile. I don't know about gumption.
Okay,
Probably
It
no
gives you
gumption.
gall though. You had the gall for the gallbladder.
exactly.
You have
I'm
the
gonna
gall.
keep hold of my gallbladder as long as I can. I want that
You
bile.
feel free as long as it does not explode on you, which it
Okay,
can
I'll
do.
keep an eye on that.
I like how the
Suddenly, without
requirements
warning, it can
of me-
explode.
I love how the requirements. I didn't mean to interrupt you, TV. Sorry. I like how the requirements for me joining wasn't that I might have something good to say or hey, I have fun with everyone on the podcast. It's we had to fill our diversity quota.
Look, the
For
fact of the matter is, we let you know where you stand before you come on the show, and to me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, the TB is actually correct in that. He informs me straight up. He's like, all you need to do is just sit there and just
show up. You have played you've played video games this week, right? Yes, great. Fantastic.
He did say that. He did say that.
Speaking of, who's been playing what this week? What's been going on? Who wants to toss their hat in the ring first?
Ooh.
Jesse does.
Trying to think of all the stuff I've played this week.
If you want some time to think, I can tell you what I've been playing. It's like 3 things.
Sure.
Okay, so Dota, obviously. A lot of Dota. I'm into my 6,000 hour section of Dota, so I'm still playing that.
I have heard there are some changes afoot with Dota as of late.
Well, one of the big changes is that they're now doing a patch every 2 weeks. Previously, we had to wait some time. So now they're doing like a 2-weekly little balance patch, occasional changes, new stuff, maybe, but nothing like, whoa, because previously it was like, hey, you waited 4 months and here's your patch. And you're like, this is all horribly broken. And then a month would go by and then something else would come out to kind of go, here's that stuff we are going to fix now. So now they're like every 2 weeks, we're going to adjust this here a little bit, this here a little bit, this a little bit, and just tweak it. But you kind of think, how has it taken this long to come up with the model of little adjustments often rather than one massive adjustment?
Remake the entire game every few months.
So just do a little tweak. So that's what they've been doing. I've been playing CSGO, which I play a lot of now, which is a great game. And compared to the imbalance of Dota, it's like this perfectly balanced peach of a game that I play. And Stellaris, which has had big new expansions coming out for that. And I got a code for it from Paradox, which is very kind of them. And I've been playing that off stream because there was an NDA till Monday. And I was going to stream it yesterday, but instead we did sub-in houses where people just play Dota and I commentate on it. I'm doing this tonight, so I'll probably do it tomorrow at some point. But it's great. It's a really good expansion.
Tell me about Stellaris then, because it's the 2.0 patch. It is the Apocalypse expansion pack, which is exactly what it says on the tin, right?
Yes, you can now build world breakers, this Colossus. And it looks like a little Death Star. There's a whole bunch of them. And you rock up in the enemy system, you just go, blow up their home planet. It's like, I didn't do it. I actually, the thing is, I was like, I'm going to destroy their world. I'm like, what are people going to think of me? Because I actually had a really interesting game. We had a galactic crisis going on. The Unbidden had turned up and poured out of a wormhole and were attacking everybody with their mega fleets. And I was like, I'm going to have to worry about those guys pretty soon. I was in a Federation. I left it because I wanted to attack my neighbor. The Federation were pissed off at me for leaving. I attacked my neighbor. I lost the war. I was kind of a little bit fucked. So I was like, I'll blow up their home planet with my Colossus. And then I was about to jump in and do it. And I just got cold feet. I thought, I can't do it. It's like millions of sentient beings living on that world. I'm just going to blow it up. We're just a happy mushroom people. That's our whole thing. Do we want to be known as the mushroom people that destroyed a planet? So I didn't do it, but I promise I will do it at some point.
I'm told there is more than one way to do it. If you're a more pacifistic race, instead of blowing them up, you can surround their planet in a shield, which I guess just starves them all to death, which
I guess so. Or like the sun cuts off the sun and stuff. It's still pretty brutal. Yeah. It doesn't seem very pacifistic to me. It's like Mr. Burns is blocking out the sun with a giant shield thing. It's still pretty
Something
evil.
Like
but
yeah, it does seem a little bit evil, but it's nice that you got choice there.
You got the choice. I didn't get that choice. I went for the Colossus.
I feel like that's the more slow, painful, torturing death, though. Instead of just ending it quickly, you just freeze them.
Get it over with. Boom. Just nail their planet.
I got Solaris because Mathis told me that it was good, and I didn't believe him. After playing 4 or so hours of the vanilla release, I was like, I still have no idea what's going on.
It is a very complicated game. I mean, it's a
super complicated
game, right? So, I mean, I know you guys are talking about playing Civ, and I actually remember, Jesse, that 3 years ago, you said, strategy games, bah, who's got time for that? You didn't play them. And now I hear you're playing Civ.
Well, I've always played Civ. I think there's I personally, I could, I don't know what the internet's going to say about this shit, but I personally think that Civ is like on the lighter end of that shit. And
yeah.
I don't necessarily consider it like a 4X. It definitely isn't, but I don't consider it like on that level of depth and detail and shit like that. So yeah, I mean, I've always played Civ games, like going back to Civ 2 and 3.
Of course.
I mean, it's definitely a 4X, but it's certainly one of the most accessible ones.
Yeah, there's just
I was
something
gonna
about
say
it that
that
doesn't seem as like overwhelming as the other games, especially when space is involved, and it's not just like a map that you see it's literally here's a system and here's a system, and then within those systems are other things you have to. There's a lot. It's a lot to focus on those types of games.
I mean, Mathis warned me. He was like, he asked me if I ever played a 4X game. I said, well, I played Civ, and he's like, it's not.
Yeah, I'm talking about a real 4X game.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what I was going for without saying it. But yeah, that's basically what Mathis said. And I was like, I mean, if I can get Civ, like if I just play the game, I can understand it eventually. But for a first time ever playing Stellaris as a brand new player, it was awful. Yeah, because I mean, there is a built-in tutorial, but it's not very good. It
doesn't really prepare you. But you know what? I've been thinking about why this is, that a lot of people struggle with space 4X games to sort of feel engaged by them. And some strategy games kind of like, I didn't feel really engaged. I didn't really care. It's like, there's a bunch of stuff going on over there. I didn't really know what was happening. If you think about Civ, what's attractive about it is it's grounded in the real world and in history. So you can
it's relatable, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, I've got muskets now. I understand what muskets mean.
I know what a musket does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're like, I've got X-ray laser green
phased plasma
4,
manipulators and the manifolds.
Exactly.
By the way,
yeah. And that's why I think the Alpha Centauri remake, what was it called? Was it called Alpha Centauri? The one they did a couple of years ago?
Oh, Civ Beyond Earth.
Beyond Earth, right?
Yeah,
so,
it was Beyond. Yeah.
I hesitate to call that a Alpha Centauri remake because I think it was far, far worse.
It was much worse. And one of the problems with it was that nothing meant anything. It's like Biomanipulator 7. I mean, who cares? Like, I don't understand what +1 to this.
Right.
Like, it didn't matter. And also, all the wonders that you built, they all had these weird, fancy sci-fi names, but it didn't feel grounded in anything. You were like, I don't care about any of this. There's no tie there to real life. So I think that's the power of Civ.
That's why I like the even the Star Wars mods for shit. And back when they actually had Star Wars like space games like that, I like that. Even though they weren't the best games, I like them because I understood the concepts.
You get it, yeah. You know what's good and what's bad and what's big and what's not, and yeah, that's it. You know what's hot, Jesse. You know what's hot. That's the thing.
I'm like the kids. I know what's hot. If there was like a Kim Kardashian 4X. No, wait, hold on, Kendall. She's the one now, right? Whatever, which one of them is popular.
4X game.
4X game. Make it happen.
A Kardashian 4X game.
It'd be hot. They're in space now.
Mega butt. That's what you'd need to have to win the game.
You know,
can build the biggest ass.
The experience that I was reminded of when I played Stellaris, it was when I was a brand new player in EVE Online.
Oh, there was a lot. Online?
Yeah.
My brother, we've both served serious time.
I love EVE. I absolutely love EVE. It's one of my favorite games ever. And I sort of, but that feeling of helplessness and sort of like just the informative nature of the tutorial in Stellaris when it first came out, like was really, really intimidating. Have they improved it all since then? Since the start?
I don't need tutorials because I'm like a professional gamer. So
right.
Well, when the last and only real time I played Stellaris was I never actually played vanilla Stellaris. I've only played the Star Trek mod for it, which is called New Horizons, which is fucking excellent, by the way. And
I will look into that. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah,
sounds cool.
It's half of me is going to put you off by saying it ain't done. It's like nowhere near done. The other half is going to tell you it's not done because they're including 65 fucking races and everything that's ever fucking happened ever in Star Trek. So
ambitious.
So yeah. That's probably why. So play the Federation or maybe the Klingons, and the chances are you'll be all right. And the tutorial for that, which I assume was adapted from the Stellaris tutorial, for me was more than sufficient to get a handle on it. But since I haven't played it in a good 6 months, if I went back, I'd probably have forgotten absolutely everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I had to start multiple playthroughs to even get back into Stellaris. But it is honestly, as a game, I think it's very different each time you play it. And like a lot of Paradox games, it is very open. I feel like often with Civ, there's one way to win. Like that's been the case. I played a lot of Civ 5 competitively with like 5 or 6 other people. There's pretty much one path to victory. The other ones are way too difficult. And it kind of pigeonholes you away. Like you got to go this way.
Yeah,
and I feel like Civ kind of needs to be a little more open. I know they're trying to do that with the whole religious victory thing that you can now get and all that, but it's still not as good as just like winning the science race.
You could get religious victory in Civ 5. Just no one did because everyone understands the concept of domination victories.
There wasn't a religion victory in Civ 5.
One of the expansions added it. Yeah.
That
Can't
might
remember.
actually be true. I don't know if I
It
played
definitely
vanilla
wasn't in
Civ
by
5.
default because religion wasn't in Civ 5 by default. But
So that was probably installed in the Gods and Kings, whatever that expansion.
There was
called then.
definitely not a religion victory in Civ 5. What you
Yeah,
could
Civ
create
6
religion,
Civ
but there
6
was
has
no,
one.
no
Really?
victory. Yeah, there was no victory for it.
yeah, Civ 6
Well,
has
you
got
can
that. and a
explains
few
why no one
others.
did it.
It shows
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
It shows you how much
That's
I
why
know.
someone go for religion victory. You could
Yeah,
get science,
everyone knows
domination.
domination.
What were the other ones you could get?
Civ 6 got what?
Political
Culture.
victory, the diplomacy victory.
Diplomacy.
Scientific.
There you go. Yeah.
There were two others. Oh no, there was the time victory, I think, and score.
Score.
like,
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, there were a few, but there was no religion when they've added it in. But the religious combat in Civ 6, I haven't played the new expansion because I was so disappointed with Civ 6. But equally, I was very disappointed with Civ 5 until 3 expansions down the road when I was like, all right, now they finished the game. And
Well,
I should
that
have played
happens
it.
with Civ quite a bit.
Sorry?
That happens with Civ quite a bit. Definitely
It
not an
does.
unusual situation with it.
Yeah, no, it does happen. I mean, Civ 4, it didn't seem to happen as much, but they've now, I think, like I was thinking about this the other day, because some of the guys on my Discord were complaining about the fact that games like Stellaris and Hearts of Iron, which is another game I play a lot of, that they're like 4, 5, 6 expansions down the road, you've got the game that it should have been at release.
Right.
The complexity of these games now is so vast that the idea that you could just deliver the base game plus at least 6 expansions at release.
At release is insane.
It's insane. You just couldn't do it. There's just too much content. I think people expect an awful lot from a release game these days. And also bear in mind, most fucking games are shit. Look at Steam. I look down, I'm like, wank, wank, wank. Don't want to play any of these. Wank, wank, wank. And it's like, most of the good ones, it's like, yeah, it'll take some time, but I can see that there's a good egg here, and we should sit on that egg until it hatches. Damn it.
And bear in mind, for the majority of players, the last thing you want to do is release, say, Hearts of Iron 5 with all of the content of all of the expansions of fucking Hearts of Iron 4 all at once.
Oh, God. It'd be
How
so
the
much.
fuck are you supposed to teach that?
Exactly. Try and
That's
tutorial
insane.
that, Paradox. Tutorial that. The finished Stellaris
It's
or Hearts of Iron.
bonkers.
Nightmare. I mean, EU4 has $200 worth of expansions or something crazy like that. Like, if you get the base game and all the expansions on top of it, it's like an overwhelming amount. But all these hardcore EU4 players have been playing it for years and years, and they've built up this understanding. So when the new stuff is added on, they're like, oh, cool, we can now do this, this, and this. But they don't have to learn it all from scratch. That's
Yeah,
the
the
thing.
vast majority of people would have to,
Yeah.
either new players or lapsed players. And that's what you got to bear in mind. That's who the majority of players are, the lapsed players. You can look
Yeah.
at your total number of purchased versus your total number of current concurrents every week, and you'll say, right, most players of these games are people that played at the start or played after maybe one expansion and then put it down. You can't throw them back in the fucking deep end.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same reason why most board games recommend that your first couple of playthroughs, you don't touch any of the expansions.
Yeah.
Hell, they even have a simplified rule set most of the time. It's like, oh, put these cards to the side. Trust me, you don't
Yeah.
want to play with these yet, because it can actually torpedo your initial learning experience.
And it just destroys the fun. Like, you're trying to have fun playing a game. If all you're doing is looking at the rule book or looking online, how the hell do I do this? It's like, where's the fun in that?
Yeah, it'll take longer to explain how to play the game than longer than the time that it actually takes to play a game.
Yeah.
If you're trying to if you explain all these new mechanics and stuff to people who I just want to play a game right now. I don't want to sit here and read and listen to a tutorial for 10 hours, I couldn't get into EU4. I thought the game was really boring. I think that Stellaris is a game that I would love to try again, especially
like a
because
tricky
Mathis.
album. It's like a band who've got an album that it's a concept album, and everyone's like, "This album's amazing." You try to get into it, you're like, "I kind of like it. I'm struggling to get
I'm
into
trying to love it. I'm really
But
trying
once
to
you
love
get
it.
there,
Yeah.
trust me, you'll be like, "Okay, I get it now."
I've heard it's a fulfilling experience when you actually get into it. Because again, look, Mathis
Definitely one
is
of the
not my
easier
only
ones, too.
vein for video games. All right, he just happened to be this one for Stellaris, but he was getting really into it, and I enjoyed watching his series on his channel. And I was like, I want to experience that, but I also want to know how to play the game. And it looks cool.
It is tricky. It's not as... I think a lot of the intimidation factor just comes from the fact that it is a Paradox game. And it's
Yeah, no, they're
Stellaris
dense.
is the easiest of the Paradox games to learn when it comes to grand strategy. As far as I'm concerned. Like, the others I've bounced off of, Stellaris I at least got into a bit. You know, I'd love to have said that I got into it completely and had a lot of fun with it, but I didn't. But that may have just been the time that I tried to play it. And I think if I tried again, I could certainly pull it off.
I kind of think Hearts of Iron 4, you might want to give that a shot if you're thinking about Stellaris as being like the easiest to get into. I honestly think Hearts of Iron has got a very simple interface compared to a lot of other Paradox games. They've done an awful lot to make it a lot easier. And I know the new expansion that they're doing is like going to try and you can delegate a lot more, and the chain of command is a lot clearer and stuff. And I mean, that's a game I play an awful lot. I played it multiplayer as well. That is a great game. And I honestly think that is a game that you could definitely say you could get into it. Like, you don't need to pick like Germany or America to start with. There are smaller nations, and it's a lot easier to build them up and stuff. So
Wales!
I think Hearts of
Let's
Iron is
get
probably
on
one of
with
the most... Wales?
Wales!
It's part of the United Kingdom.
No,
TVs, but...
no, Black Panther says otherwise. Wales, independent nation of Wales. Let's go.
I haven't seen it yet. Wales is a separate like nation.
Apparently,
state now?
yeah. One little scene in it shows the Welsh flag on its own on a stage at some point. So there is now rumor that Wales in the Marvel universe is an independent state.
Has there ever been a Welsh superhero? Because I figured he would have.
There is. I can't pronounce him obviously because no vowels.
Come
But
on.
he translates into the Red Dragon. There was a Welsh superhero, I think, on one of I can't remember. Earth
I'm gonna Google this. I don't believe there's ever been a Welsh superhero.
There was a Welsh superhero that protected the interest of Wales. He was called the Red Dragon. I don't know how to pronounce his actual name.
I can't believe.
I don't believe this at all. I don't believe
You
this
can
at
look it up.
all.
Either that or I was clickbaited like I've never
You're
been
right.
clickbaited before.
The Red Dragon.
You can't make something like that.
Greg Koch, the Red Dragon.
That just sounds like Klingon.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much it.
That is Wales.
Base of operation, Wales. As if we needed to know.
Just Wales.
And he's just a dragon. He's just a fucking dragon.
Do you think that means he's in the MCU? He's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
He's on the Marvel database of characters?
God damn.
Idreg Goch. Apologies to any Welsh viewers for my pronunciation.
Don't apologize to the Welsh. It's their fault.
That's yeah.
Spoken like an Englishman.
That's the fourth
Indeed.
wave of movies. They're gonna introduce him. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's when they really start running out of ideas.
Subtitles.
You know what's sad? That'll be like the most successful launch they ever get as well. It's just like the Welsh superhero. It's like busts all records inexplicably. I'm like,
It's
what?
like the Black Panther is the Welsh movie.
But
Idreg
just-
Goch. Yeah.
But just in Wales, though. Just in Wales. Worldwide,
The
it bomb.
I think even if the entirety of Wales showed up to watch that multiple times, it would still bomb.
Yeah. Like, there's hardly any people that live there. There's like 3 guys and a bunch of sheep. Unless you took the
Lot of
sheep in and they counted as viewers, what would they think about
I
the
mean, if they
movie?
paid for a ticket.
They'd
so-
say it was bad.
Boo! Boo! I was waiting for it. I was
That's
waiting for it.
See that?
Boo!
That's Sinvicta levels of bad right there. Jesse would
Stop
tell
that
you.
right now.
I'm a dad joke
Oof.
guy.
Oof.
Sorry. Killed this podcast now. Jesus.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Oh, yeah,
Hope you,
because we've never had worse than that on the show before. God damn it. All right. What else you got?
Was
I've
that
been-
you said? Yeah.
Me?
You,
I'm
Yeah,
throwing
what
that
do you
out
guys
to
do?
anybody.
Tell us about the games you fuckers
Yeah,
have
I'm
been
throwing that
playing.
out to anybody. What you got?
fine. I'll talk about a game. So, this past week I sat down and played a bunch of Dynasty Warriors 9.
I
um,
would love to hear what you have to say about this one.
So, boy.
That's a good sign.
Right off the top, it is. I don't know how to describe. I understand why people are pissed. It's not a Dynasty Warriors game. If this makes any sense to people who have played Dynasty Warriors before, Dynasty Warriors is literally a bunch of like, and this goes for Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors and One Piece Warriors, whatever the hell that, like the Million Warriors games. Literally, it follows the exact same like outline. There's a weird little cutscene, and then there's like a set up your army screen, and then you go into the battle, You beat the battle. You come back to like a weird cutscene of like a bunch of guys like, yes, let us go to the cherry blossoms. And it's always really stupid and silly. And then you go to a battle and you kill 1,000 guys, and then you come back from the battle screen, and there's not a lot of like downtime between murder, right? It's very much like, all right, I'm gonna jump in a fight and I'm gonna kill some guys. This game, they decided to get rid of the concept of like pulling you out of the world and then sending you to different areas. This time it's a giant open world, and because of that, what happens is everything from cutscenes to conversations to going to get your weapons fixed to going to like buying stuff for your army, everything takes place in this open world, which means you're constantly running around doing stuff. So it has a very MMO RPG feel to it, and you don't control units. You do have units that sort of like follow your ass around, but it's just sort of you're playing the character you're playing. And so I was playing Liu Bei, and the just like in the past, the dialogue and voice acting was bad, but it was bad voice acting done by professional voice actors who were like, you recognize the voices and they were just like, what do we do, Liu Bei? I don't know, cow, right? And it's not even like, they're not even pronounced correctly. It's just, this time is a different, like, it is, I swear to God, I played as Liu Bei. The story of Liu Bei, for those of you who don't know, it's been done a million times, is Liu Bei, Guan Yu, and Zhang Fei are like these three dudes who randomly meet, and they decide it's a chance they're together, so they form like a brotherhood pact, and they go off and like kick ass and whatever. Okay. I'm convinced it's the same guy voicing all three roles. I swear to God, because when they talk, they're just, one guy's like, that's right, brother. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, they all keep saying brother like they're fucking Hulk Hogan. They're like, okay, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Of Hulk Hogan, right?
Brother.
Yes. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, brother, let's go. And he's like, okay, brothers. It sounds like the same guy. And every character just is, what was campy fun before is now like, oh boy, oh no, this is terrible. And so you have that immediately from the start. You have cutscene after well, not even cutscenes, like dialogue, in-game dialogue that just you're bombarded by it. There's so much, and you're just like, when's this shit start? Then when it finally starts, you're just by yourself, you're in a town, suddenly quests pop up, like literally fucking exclamation point quests. And you're just like, what? So then you're running around getting quests, and the quests are like, can you go out in the fields? There's bandits out there, but they only show up at night. And if you kill them, I'll give you a bonus. You're like, what? So now you're running around outside your town. If you're a completionist like me, you're just running around outside town doing quests. You've yet to engage in the actual battle. I started the battle against the Yellow Turbans, which is always the first fight in every Dynasty Warriors. And up until 9 was like the tutorial fight. It was, you run through the battle, you have a low-level character, and you're just murdering thousands of like rebellious Yellow Turban zealots. And it always says that sort of meme of like the leader being the guy who's like, I'm a religious dude and I have a crazy voice that sounds like this in every game. And he always says like, and now my army, he's like Rita Repulsa shit. He's like, grow, and like ghost army men appear, and then you have to figure out like what he's really doing, which is like you break pots and the pots destroy the illusions or whatever. It's always the same fucking thing. This time, I was maybe 2 hours into the game and had yet to meet one Yellow Turban because I was fucking running around killing bandits in the woods, fighting wolves. There are wolves in the game now. Wolves showed up and I like got killed by wolves because I tried to take on like a pack of wolves. I was running around. Y'all, there's towers in this game.
Oh,
you climb up towers. You climb up towers to unlock surroundings. And I was just like,
reminds me of another game. I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, it was unpleasant. And then you jump on your horse and you ride around and you might find nothing for a few minutes. Like you just run through the forest and you see little blips on the ground, like the fucking Witcher, for example. You're like, oh shit, this is a patch of ginseng. And you jump off your horse and you start picking up fucking ginseng off the ground. I'm like, this is not Dynasty Warriors. This is not, it's like, I refuse to say it is a bad Dynasty Warriors game because it's not Dynasty Warriors. The concept of a Warriors game is not this game at all. I will say, when you finally get to the areas where battles do take place, the one thing that is actually fascinating that I think is amazing is the way the battles look visually, because the maps in the previous ones were like you go into a map, you play around in it. It would always be like corridors and paths, right? You're like walking in hallways, but they make it look much bigger and make it look like you're in a battle. So they couldn't really do anything epic and grand, right? You'd be funneled into like, oh, we have to go to Hulao Gate now, which is a big moment in Dynasty Warriors. You have to go to Hulao Gate and watch out for Lu Bu. He's over there. And you'd always funnel into this gate area. And then Lu Bu would show up and everyone would be like, flee from Lu Bu. And so you'd have to like go around a different path, like around the outside. But it was always like hallways and corridors that just were given the appearance of being outdoors. This time, because they're doing open world, the battles are huge and grand. And so when I finally got to Hulao Gate, I was like, oh, fuck, because there's armies and waves of guys coming, and there's catapults and stuff with you flinging. So it looks like a real battle. It actually looks and feels like something epic that you want to be a part of. And I thought that was really cool. But that is few and far between. 90% of the rest of the game is like you running around and doing a quest for a guy because he thinks it's a good idea. And it's like, what the fuck is this? It's not Dynasty Warriors.
What do you think? What do you think the obsession that game developers have? Did you ever play Game Dev Tycoon? Did you ever play that game?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Great game.
Great game.
Love that game. As you get better at making games, you start to make not just one genre, but two genres and three genres, and there's like MMO when you have to add open world in and day and night and everything. And I kind of think at times I'm like, is this stuff necessarily progress?
Well,
like,
I think
just saying, let's take Dynasty Warriors and squeeze as much shit into it as we can. That'll be better, right? It's like, well, if you had a great game that people were enjoying, this is Dynasty Warriors 9. The other 8 must have been pretty good, or you wouldn't be making 9, right? So just make the same and just make it fancier, but you don't have to add all this extra shit, right?
Every so often they change up the Dynasty Warriors. Like it's the exact same story, right? You can't change the historical drama, but the way they change up, like Dynasty Warriors 2 was like Dynasty Warriors 1 was a fighting game, like a Street Fighter fighting game. Dynasty Warriors 2 was the first time we had this sort of run through halls, beating up guys as your characters. And Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4, they were like, oh, that's a really great concept. Let's just add more and more characters. So I think by 4 or 5, whichever one it was, there was like 68 characters. It was crazy. And it was just like, yeah, everyone has a character, everyone has abilities, and it's awesome. And then they decided to like turn that down and focus more on story. And then so they lowered it as time went on to less and less characters that were main story characters, and there were side characters you unlock and shit like that. And then Dynasty Warriors 8, they also started doing Dynasty Warriors Empires, which was sort of a thing where you did the battles, but then you unlocked different parts of the map, and so you were like fighting with other factions for control of the map,
cards and shit to be able to influence what was going on.
And so they had that in there as well, and so that became a part of it. And so I think in their mind, this was supposed to be sort of the culmination, because I think Dynasty Warriors 8, I could be wrong about this, but I remember when I played it, because I played that on a PlayStation 3, so it's been a while, but Dynasty Warriors 8, I believe, had a similar quest system, but it was all done in the actual like gameplay, the normal gameplay, where you would like talk to a guy and you'd be like, hey, I need you to go do this for me, but you'd go do it in the actual like map
instead of wandering off into some empty open world bullshit, which is never what that game has been about. You know, that game, like I said, has been about murdering lots and lots and lots of people using ridiculous moves and ridiculous weapons. One thing I noticed, Jim put out a lot of videos about this game this week because he's a hardcore Dynasty Warriors fan. He fucking hates this one. And one of the big complaints he's got is that Dynasty Warriors used to have a lot of really out there weapons, very exaggerated, big, crazy, cool movesets, and they have taken them and made them far less interesting. You know, far less interesting.
Oh, in this game?
Yeah, there was a guy who like had a set of giant claws and now has just these petty little fans and stuff. There's too many sword users now, too many spear users.
He's right about that. I found this fascinating while playing this game. They took out the weapons and the outfits that made everyone fantastical and instead replaced it with QTE battle moments, which like if you unlock a certain combo, it'll be like press triangle and then you charge across the battlefield, at least as Liu Bei, and your weapons turn into like neon laser blasters of doom, and you just like instantly kill someone. It can be a boss, it can be, if you unlock a certain combo, you can instantly kill anyone if they get below a certain point of life. It's like I never played a warrior in WoW, but I know they have an ability where like if you get them down to a certain percent, you can literally just do like a super ton of damage. It's very much like that, where suddenly you're just like, fuck it, and you can like kill guys, and you'll literally rush across the battlefield and one-shot a dude or fly in the air and kill him. And so it like is a finisher move, but it looks so out of place when they're trying to make everything else look realistic. Yeah, I just he's right about a lot of the problems with this game, and that's why I agree with him on a lot. But I think here's my biggest issue is I still, in the time that I have been playing it, I still don't hate it. I just don't see it as a Dynasty Warriors game. And I think what is disappointing is it's not terrible. It's not good. It's simply like mediocre, which is the most insulting part. Like, it's just like a game where it feels like no love was put into the game. It feels like everyone who made the game was like, what is the buy the book thing we can do here? Okay, open world, it's huge right now. And I feel like when they were making this, it had to have been when towers were still a thing and
when
all that shit.
Open World
Like,
was actually huge. Because honestly, these days it's not. You know, it's actually sort of fading out a little bit.
I feel like it's a development time thing. Like when they started this, the plan was they're looking at all these other games that are really big and they're like, this is it. And this is the problem all development time things have, especially with AAA companies, which is just like consistently we have this ludicrous, ridiculous idea of just like, if we can jump on this bandwagon, if we can get done in time. And it never really happens.
Well, no, because games take a long time to make.
I was just going to say, you were talking about AAA, but who remembers the game System Shock or System Shock 2, which was the more recent?
Of course.
Didn't play System Shock, right? So classic games of their time. Like System Shock, I remember playing it when it first came out.
Yeah.
Revolutionary. Like there'd been nothing like it. System Shock 2 came along. It was very, very good FPS sort of adventure of semi-RPG.
BioShock would not exist without it. There's no question.
Right,
exactly.
absolutely.
Classic.
So it was classic games. So there was a Kickstarter recently. I know Kickstarters are not something that we probably want to talk about too much because everybody has very similar opinions about the benefits of Kickstarter. But anyway, there was a company that was going to make it. They're called Night Dive Studios. They were making a remake of the original System Shock.
I remember this. Yeah.
I Kickstarted it straight away.
Yeah.
I got an email from them last week saying basically, hey guys, we're sorry. We fucked up. We, instead of just making a remake, decided to start adding all this extra shit in. And this is exactly what you were talking about with games developers now. They have a great idea. They have a game. It doesn't need to have all these extra bells and whistles you've convinced yourself you need. And now what's happened is they've had to go on hiatus from making the System Shock remake. And a bunch of people have left the company. And this is what the email said. It's like
spent all their money. As simple as that.
Well, exactly. It's like, what the fuck? Like, they're like, this is not the end. It will be back. And I'm thinking,
I don't believe them.
The
Unless they can find a publisher or an angel investor, they're fucked. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, you're right. It was their hubris in particular. You know, it's, if anything, you can argue to some extent fraud, because what they were promising their backers was a remake or a remaster of System Shock. Not
That's all I wanted.
Not a reimagining, you know, not a full-on reimagining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's
what
nice
people backed.
version that ran on my PC and looked pretty. It was the same game because I haven't.
But
played
that's the same thing with Mighty Number 9. Like, right?
I didn't know about that.
Mighty Number 9 was the game that everyone was like, it's the Mega Man team, and they're gonna bring back Mega Man, except they're gonna name it something else, but it's gonna be fucking Mega Man, and he's number 9. There's gonna be 8 bosses. Like, the pitch was solid. Literally, people just wanted a Mega Man game, a normal, and what they did was create something entirely like, we have other ideas like how we want to do this. And when the game came out, people were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh yeah, it was absolute toss, no doubt about that.
Toss.
I don't know. When it comes to backing video games on Kickstarter these days, I think it is a mugs game. There was a golden age a few years ago where it resulted in some great games coming out that otherwise wouldn't have arrived. I thought this was custom made for things like the System Shock remake, which is, how do you pitch it to a developer or a publisher, I should say? We're going to remake a game that's already been made. They'll be like, nah, we want new stuff. This is what's hot. This is what's hot. You're going to find a niche audience, and they're like, me. Totally. And they're going to be like, oh, shit, a remake of System Shock? I'm going to back that. And I'll give you the money to get this made. So you don't need to go to a publisher. That's great. And yeah, I think it's just,
I mean, there have been some success stories. There have been a lot of success stories from Kickstarter. But for instance, there was going to be one of the guys who's one of the lead devs on Civ 4, I think, maybe Civ 5. I think it was Civ 4. He was making a game called, I think it was called Enemy at the Gates or something at the Gates anyway. It's going to be like a Civ game designed by him and just him. So it's going to be like his vision. It's going to be, simple kind of game. It looked very beautiful. It was like a Civ remake, but not Civ. And I'm like, there's only really one Civvy game out there, and it's Civ. So for an alternative, fantastic. Let's have a look at it. He got a job at Paradox. Subsequently, he's left again. But the game's never materialized. I kickstarted it years ago. It's not here. And it's like, people are going to fucking start saying no. And you're going to kill Kickstarter.
I did that years ago, right? Like
I've started. I
still get sucked in, Jesse. I still think this is too good. This
I only back board
look
games.
At the fancy video.
I only back board games. That's generally a good bet, especially if the company has a track record.
Secret Hitler backed it, got the copy. Yep.
Well, I mean, a lot of companies have gone almost purely Kickstarter now. Cool Mini or Not essentially does all of their stuff through Kickstarter now, and a lot of the time they are highly successful. Sometimes they make the excuse that they're doing it because the game they're making is so niche that they're not even going to sell it at retail. Like they're making a run of this thing, and that's going to be it. I mean, I'm currently sitting waiting for my copy of Cthulhu Wars, which is a massive board game about wiping out the Earth with different factions of Lovecraftian monsters. The miniatures for this thing, they're massive. They're fucking huge. Like, and this game is like a $200 board game, and to get a copy is tricky, to say the least.
Yeah.
And usually what they do is to do a full reprinting. They do a new Kickstarter, and this is their third one. And it's like, right, we will reprint as many copies as gets kickstarted. And there's other games. There's games even bigger than that, like Kingdom Death Monster, which is hundreds and hundreds of dollars because it's just this giant. It won't even fit in the box. It's this giant fucking game with thousands of cards and hundreds of miniatures. I mean, it's insane shit. That's Kickstarter works for that.
I agree.
For video games
there's a lack of feature creep. It's like, here's the board game. We don't have to.
We know what it is.
We're going to go Unreal instead of Unity. We're going to do this. It's like
it's just a store. I mean, it's just a vendor at that point.
It's like we just need to design the game and play test it. Here are the pieces. We've made the board. We've done it. It's made. There's not suddenly going to go, we're going to remake the board using a new material. It's like, no.
If you want it,
it's pretty rare for that to happen. I just back the age. It's a bizarre thing to back. Agents of Mayhem, the board game. That fucking exists. And I'm like, Agents of Mayhem, that game was shitty. But the board game looks great. Fun. It's got 3D destructible terrain. It's got really cool miniatures. It's got all sorts of crazy shit going on. I'm like, you know what? I'll back that. Because
that sounds interesting.
I mean, and they've got the prototype done. You can see it played. You can read the rule book. You know exactly what you're going to get. And in the vast majority of cases, that is what you're going to get. Unless there is something goes horribly wrong in the manufacturing process. And that's pretty rare. With video games, you have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
No day one DLC for those board games.
You'd be surprised sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, with Kickstarter, yeah, they do Kickstarter exclusives and shit.
You'll get those messages. Yeah, you'll get a message when it's like, when it's time to complete your order with your address, do you want to add this?
Yeah, there's definitely bits like that in Kickstarter exclusive cards and stuff. They're usually not a big deal, but every now and again, yeah, they will do that.
I guess that could be nice if people want to, if they're just really big fans of the project, they could get something a little bit extra, as long as it's not like forced,
it depends how essential it is, because obviously it sucks for people that didn't want to take the risk and wanted to buy in later. It's like, oh, well, I can't get that thing now. That kind of fucking sucks. In the vast majority of circumstances, it doesn't matter, though. Just to wrap up on Dynasty Warriors 9 then, so not particularly happy on that one, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not... Here's my problem, is I want to see what they do with it, so I want to play more, but it's not like something I'm going to enjoy, which is really weird to say.
But
like, I want to
a bit odd, yeah.
There are moments... The problem that a lot of people are talking about because a lot of people are playing it and they were talking about how it feels very much like Dragon Age Inquisition, and at the beginning is like tons of open world stuff. But as time goes on, as the quests become more pointed as like your faction slowly coalesces, right? Because at the beginning of every Dynasty Warriors game, no matter who you are, you're one of the 3 main leaders, basically, and you are involved in the big upheaval in China. And so for the first couple missions, you're always part of a coalition. You're always part of this huge thing, and you're going from point to point. You're just sort of by yourself. And apparently, as time goes on, it gets more and more pointed to like, now we're our faction, and now we have to go up against these guys. And I'm curious how that plays out. I kind of want to see it, but at the same time, it's like, ouch, there's a lot. There's a lot in this game. There's a lot to do. So I
know a lot of it's very, very bad.
Yeah.
Not really selling me on it.
No,
I'm not trying to sell you. I'm literally, here's what I'll say. If you want to experience a current graphics, Dynasty Warriors 8, there is an XL version for PlayStation 4, which if like you want to do the ancient China, like 190 AD China, that's probably cool. But if you want to experience a Warriors game, literally Fire Emblem Warriors just came out. It's awesome. Hyrule Warriors, they're re-releasing it, and that game was the fucking shit. You literally just Zelda your way through stuff, and it plays the exact same way old Dynasty Warriors games played, and it's just as fun. Like, go play those, and that will give you the feeling of what a good Dynasty Warriors game should be. And that's all I'll say about that. Seriously, Hyrule Warriors, what was it? Like the number 2 or 3 selling game on Wii U? Like, it's good. It's a fun game.
It's so well.
It's good.
What gets me is that Dynasty Warriors should be a game that I absolutely love, because I love hack and slash, like murder hundreds of people kind of shit. I love 99 Nights. I personally thought I was better at doing that than Dynasty Warriors.
That's a fun game too. Yeah.
But there's actually a surprising lack of games that let you do that aren't more like Diablo. And what I actually want is more like a brawler and less like Diablo. So, yeah, and it shocks me that there are so few that actually do that. And Dynasty Warriors, well, it just doesn't do it very well. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking because I was so hyped for that game. Like,
Kinda
really,
sucks.
really excited.
I'm sorry, Jesse.
Yeah, what are you going to do? They can't all be winners. I'm hoping they'll take this and they'll do like a DWX and bring it back and fucking like kill it next time. Because, you know, they're big enough that they have enough success from the other Warriors franchise games that hopefully they can be like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board on this shit.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll turn it around next time.
Indeed. All right, we're going to take a break, folks, to hear from our wonderful sponsors over at Squarespace. Head over to squarespace.com/cooptional for 10% off your first order and a free trial. We'll be right back after the break with more video games if we can find them. And if not, we'll probably sit here looking awkward for the next couple of hours.
It could happen.
Warning was given. Well, that's all I can say. You know,
wait till you hear what I've been playing.
Fair warning was given. We'll find something. We'll be right back. It's officially the year of the dog, which means that you should be celebrating all of the wonderful things that dogs do for us. For instance, letting us know with absolute urgency that the mail truck they see on a daily basis has arrived and may be planning an all-out attack on the house, so we'd best bark at it. Or how about the presence of another dog on the street, minding its own business? This obviously constitutes the end of the world, the worst thing to ever happen, an apocalypse that you, the owner, are not paying anywhere near enough attention to, so we'd best bark at it. Or how about your website? That's clearly not up to scratch, fit for purpose, or impressing anybody, so we'd best set you up with a brand new one from Squarespace. Then bark at it. Am I implying that Squarespace is so simple to use that even a dog could do it? Well, why don't you head over to squarespace.com/cooptional for 10% off your first order and a free trial. See for yourself how simple it is to implement one of hundreds of professionally designed templates. Marvel at the vast selection of domain choices with Squarespace domains, which feature quick and easy setup and no hidden fees. Recoil in surprise to discover that you can purchase .dog. Then bark at it. Squarespace lets you build a website for whatever you'd like. If you can dream it, you can make it. Squarespace's award-winning 24/7 support is there to help you achieve your goals should you get stuck. All of this sounds too good to be true, so much so that it might give you pause. But there are plenty of reasons why so many people use Squarespace for their galleries, blogs, businesses, and storefronts. Squarespace powers millions of websites, and each of them has their own tale to tell. So sign up today at squarespace.com/cooptional for 10% off your first order and a free trial. Then bark at it, because after all on the internet, nobody knows that you were a dog the whole time. Squarespace. Choose your template, pick your domain, and then make it your own with no experience required. Then bark at it, because Squarespace is so simple, you don't even need opposable thumbs to use it. Though, we admit it would help. Squarespace. We can't stop the lawnmower or the mail truck, but we will help you make it with Squarespace. Then bark at it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed the sounds of Ronald Jenkins with Error Me Out from his Days Away album. So good. So very,
Shout
very
out
good.
to Ronald Jenkins. There's a dude.
That is a dude.
There's a dude.
There's no doubt.
Big
There's no
fan.
doubt
I used to love his
whatsoever.
stuff like way back when he'd just go, "Hey, YouTubes," and he just
He's-
start going for it. I
One of
love
the
it.
originals. He's one of the originals. You go to one of his videos now, it's like, this is in 144p. It's like, we
like,
couldn't tell
yeah.
it was actually a human being. It could have been a cat for all we know. It was too blurry. It's hard to say.
I still
You know
love.
what? Go on.
So-
Sorry.
No, TB first introduced me to him when I asked him what track he played during. It was during one of the breaks, and it's called 103 Degrees, and that's one of my favorite tracks ever. That song's so good.
He's
Oh, yeah.
incredible. Like,
Yeah,
his
he's
stuff
really
when
good.
playing live and everything like that. The one thing I would say is that I got his first album when it came out, and it cleaned up a lot of the audio sound that I actually liked. The kind of raw sound that when he played it live, it was a lot rawer and kind of
Yeah.
had that quality. And I feel like when he did it, like a lot of people, it's a little overproduced and clean. I was
Yeah.
like, no, I like that dirty, funky sound you had when I could hear you pounding that keyboard. I think it's just the difference between live performance and recorded. Is like if you go to see a
Absolutely.
band live,
Yep.
even a middling band, you're like, these guys are amazing. You listen to the album, you're like, actually, they're not so good. It's like,
You know-
I think he was better live.
You know who also I sort of share the exact same opinion with is Pendulum. Pendulum live is awesome. They do such a great show, and I love their albums too. But for some reason, I don't know if you watch I think it was at Bristol or Brixton or somewhere when they played live.
Brixton,
Like
I think.
all of their live songs just sound so incredible. It's like it really is a different. It's almost as if
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just a little more
They're
raw.
vastly overproduced on record. There's no doubt about that.
For sure.
An Australian drum and bass and electronic rock band formed in 2002. Is that who you're
Oh, you
talking
did?
about?
You never
Pendulum?
listened
Never,
to Pendulum?
never heard of them.
Oh,
Sorry.
man,
Pendulum's
they're-
some good stuff.
Oh god, they're great. I love Pendulum.
I'll give it a try.
I get it.
Give it a whack.
recommend Propane Nightmares, Hold Your Color. The Tempest is one that you'll probably really like, and they also covered Master of Puppets live as well, if you can believe it.
Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. As a Metallica fan and a metal fan.
Well, as a
it's good.
Metallica fan, you say that. That's interesting. I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where you got that idea from?
Yeah,
Master.
that's not how he says it. Doesn't
No.
Master.
No. Yeah.
No, that just sounds like a dog that just learned to talk.
No, but that's like the backup guy. There's always a guy that goes, Master.
There's no backup guy.
There is.
It's just James.
It's the crowd is the backup guy
Oh, okay. Okay.
every time.
We had
Yeah.
He sings it live.
we had an issue when we were on the boat whereby we were at the Sabaton concert. They are a Swedish band that sings a lot about various historical conflicts, and sometimes they sing in Swedish. And for some reason, despite the fact that the majority of their crowd is not Swedish and cannot speak Swedish, they will often request the song in Swedish. So they did a little democratic thing. It's like, what are we going to do with the next song, in English or Swedish? And then overwhelmingly Swedish is what people respond. I'm like, okay. And then, of course, knowing for a fact that there was no chance in hell that they would be able to actually sing it, they left the gaps for the crowd to fill in. And it was like,
Because no one knows how to speak Swedish.
no, nobody has a fucking clue. They did it twice. 2 songs. Both voted to sing it in Swedish, but we don't know how to sing. We don't know the words in Swedish.
That's a
really
very
funny.
Swedish sense of humor right there.
Yeah, that is true.
They'd actually do some. There's a Sabaton soundtrack, I think, for Hearts of Iron 4. They did it. There's a
Yes.
soundtrack. You can get
Yeah,
that's
that
done by
wouldn't
Sabaton.
surprise me in the
This
slightest.
guy always Hearts of Iron 4, man. Period.
I don't vote for
Getting back
Paradox.
to
I'm just a big fan. I'm just a
Man.
big.
There's no surprise. Sabaton are huge war nerds, so yeah, they'd be involved in that. Master.
I can't talk metal with Jesse. He
No, it's not
You
a good
can't.
idea. It's not.
If you
but
want to
Jesse
talk,
knows
if
metal,
you
though.
want to talk
We're gonna get a killer segue here. Or is he gonna fuck it up? Let's find out.
No, can I tell you something? Oh fuck! I almost did it again. So I almost called Katy Perry Candy Heart again, and I don't know why. I keep thinking that's her name.
What?
Guys,
Candy, what?
What?
There is a picture of her naked on her front with candy hearts all over her butt. I mean, I don't know if that picture is stuck in my mind, or it's not like I've looked at it a bunch of times or anything.
To Google!
Maybe it's
like a week or two ago, I was trying. I think I explained this, but I'm gonna say it again. I thought that Katy Perry's name was Candy Heart, and I thought that Vin Diesel's name was Vic Montague, and I don't know why.
What is wrong with
and I
you?
can't tell you why. But for some reason, even to this, I literally was about to say I'm a big fan of Katy. I was gonna joke like, no, I don't
Yeah,
do
you're
metal, but if
huge
you want to
fan,
talk Katy
apparently.
Perry, I couldn't. I was literally, I had to stop myself.
Doesn't know a
You
name.
want to talk Candy Heart? No one would know what the fuck that is.
candy heart.
I think I have early onset Alzheimer's, y'all.
That
I
is a
don't
good
know. I
That
don't know what's
explains a
happening
it's
right
huge
it's
now.
called-
amount over the last 5 years.
Oh man,
It's called
That would be candy K-A-N-D-I heart. I'm gonna
Candy
Google.
Heart. That
Oh,
that
no.
is a stripper name, not a
There's no
songstress.
pictures of any strippers on Google for Candy Heart. There's literally just pictures of hearts made out of
Maybe
candy.
that's the name I'll take.
Jesse
Classic.
suffers from a form of Alzheimer's that I have coined halfheimers. It's not quite all the way there.
Right.
It
You're
could be.
starting to get
If
the
I
early-
tried, it could be.
Coxheimer's.
Alzheimer's,
There's
there
actually,
you go.
I'm actually scrolling. There are no porn actresses even called Candy Heart. That's unbelievable to me.
Man, I'm
Get
sure
on
the
it,
crowd.
porn actresses of the world. Get on it. Candy
on
Heart.
with
It's
it.
out there. It's available.
I don't know how I'm going to be able to segue out of this to what I've been playing this week.
I was going to say we didn't hear what you've been playing. this
Depends if you've been playing that stupid ass fucking seduction game that's been making the rounds, which I certainly hope not.
Oh
What?
my god, I've seen that shit.
That
Is that the
sucks.
guy who's like, I'm gonna teach you how to be a great seductor?
Yeah,
by
he's a
playing this
fucking
game."
scumbag
What?
pickup artist piece of shit. And
TV, I'm offended you would think that I would even
he's
know what that is.
well, here's the thing. They sent codes to everybody. Like
Not me. I didn't get a
Not
code.
me.
Well, I guess he figured I didn't need it. I mean, come on.
everybody, like every streamer they could find. Because I know Pocket got one, and I said, "Oh yeah, I got one of those as well." And then the thread is just loads of streamers replying saying, "Yeah, I got one of those as well." And I'm looking at them, and they're not big streamers. Like these things went out to fucking everybody. The thing is, I very strongly believe that game will get banned on Twitch if anyone actually tries to stream it because of some of the content that's in it.
I've never even heard of it, so
Well,
No.
let's just say it's a little bit rapey. Just
Oh.
a
But, like,
just
what
a
is?
wee
What is?
bit.
I mean, besides
bit rapey.
besides the like trope of like the pickup artist, where you're like, hey,
it's fucking
you know, where they do that like
FMV.
compliment sandwich bullshit, where they're like, hey, you've got nice eyes, but you know, for a weird-eyed woman, how about we
Negging,
go on a date,
yeah.
beautiful?
I
Like
think
weird.
I think they call that negging.
Yeah, it's called
when
negging.
Yes,
You give
Oh,
them a
I'm sorry.
negative.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. I'm too old for this game.
Scrunches up and you look like a beaver when you smile. But
it's all
Like,
that's
I
old
would still
school
date you. Yeah.
nonsense.
Like
yeah,
I would still want to have sex with you, you ugly person.
basically,
Who I
he
find
ugly.
attractive.
well, apparently he
ugly.
turned it into an FMV
Right.
game where he goes through various scenarios and you get choices, and then tells
It's
you
an
why.
FMV game. Oh, why?
And then he
TV? I have
tells
to
you-
play it now.
I'm getting this.
Oh,
Don't give him the publicity.
I have to play. Oh,
And then he tells you why you
Man.
were wrong. But amusingly enough, it goes back to what is presumably his bedroom, probably in his mum's basement. And he is flanked on either side by two very disinterested looking women in underwear. As he explains why, telling a woman straight up to her face on the street that you would like to fuck her in the ass is probably not a very good idea. As
People
if
need training
we
to
needed
establish
to
that.
know that. Yeah,
I can't-
apparently. Yeah.
I love the idea there are guys out there so clueless. They're like, I've just been walking up to them and saying, hey, can I fuck you in the ass? They're all saying no. What am I doing wrong? I'm glad
That's
you
all-
asked.
why the ass though? Like, if
Basically,
that's
all
your
you
A
are.
game, if that's your A game,
A game,
all-
ass game.
all you
Yeah.
need-
if
watch
that's
the
like
donkey
from the get go,
video.
you're like, yo, girl, how about that ass though? I just feel like you're not taking it seriously.
What
It's
happened
all-
to hello? What happened to hello?
it's just all about presentation. It's not how you look. It's how you say it. It's the way
Well,
it's
there's some
presented.
creepy
Just-
shit in there. It's like the first one was like,
that's...
make sure you can get it to stop and don't let her leave. I'm like, oh, great, okay, yeah, that sounds...
Don't let her leave. Yeah, that's a great start to her.
Yeah, if you want to know what that thing is about, go watch
Oh,
Donkey's video and then pay it no mind ever
What's
again.
it called, TB, by the way?
I don't know what it's called.
All right, I won't. Let's not even dignify that with an answer.
It's like something seduction. I don't know what the fuck it is. But
Something
it's like...
seduction. That sounds like a book I'd write. Something seduction.
and all this because TB thought that I would have played it. At some
absolutely.
Point.
Yeah, that seems like the kind of thing you would play.
Sinvicta, there's no way he'd play that.
What have you been playing this week? Oh, well, that fucking seduction game.
Obviously, what have you actually been playing this week?
I can't follow that. It does anything I say now is not going to be able to follow.
Hey, baby, you're looking hot.
What have you been playing?
Well, first off, Darkest Dungeon and Slay the Spire and Isaac, of course, and Summoner's War. But also,
an expansion for Darkest Dungeon?
No.
No. The Color of Madness is slated tentatively for sometime in the next 2 months.
You've just been playing it. That's what you've been playing. I didn't know if there was a new version. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I started a new season on my channel, but that's not what I've actually played a new game, which is it's an early access. Get ready for the eye rolls because it's going to happen. Early access first person survival game. I know it's like
okay.
You never heard that, but before I lose you and the people who haven't already left yet, it actually is. It's a game called Echo. I'm pretty sure they're going for Echo.
And the Echo, because Echo the Dolphin was a game.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to try to call back to that.
Echo the Dolphin was awesome. Get the fuck out of reality.
The first one was awesome. The second one, not so much.
Put him on land, give him a machine gun, and just let him roam free.
Yep. But the premise of the game is, if you look at it, it looks like it's Minecraft. It just looks like an updated texture version of Minecraft.
Okay.
The gimmick though is that it is more of a society simulator than anything else, and an economy simulator than anything else. Where the object, it's multiplayer, by the way. You have to play it multiplayer. Okay. The object is that you're trying to save this planet that you're on. That's very Earth-like. It's a miniature version of Earth from being destroyed by an asteroid, which it will hit in 30 days real time. So whether the server is online or offline, whatever, it's going to hit. And what you have to do is you have to combine. You join with other people who are either in a public server. I play on a guy named Ziggy D, who some of you may have heard of. It's Path of Exile.
Oh, Ziggy D.
Yeah, he has
Ziggy D.
Jesse, you've never heard of Ziggy D.
I don't know who the fuck Ziggy D is at all.
No, he's just
I've heard vaguely of Ziggy D because of Path of Exile. Yeah,
he's a good guy. I like Ziggy. Anyway, he's got his own private server where we have about maybe a group of 10 to 15 people we're all playing in there, and you have to band together to try to figure out to develop the technology to stop the asteroid from destroying the planet,
which apparently starts with fucking wood.
Yeah, but
you have to fuck wood.
No, you start punching wood.
Sounds like my kind of game.
It's like that's gonna take a long time.
That's chapter 1 of Something Seduction. Fuck wood.
Yeah. See, find a tree. Fuck it in the ass.
I told you, anything I would have said, it would just not matter.
No.
Practice your pickup lines on trees. Yeah.
I would love to see that. I would love.
YouTube is just not
Find
playing
a tree that looks kind of like a lady.
Today, so.
And then
you don't get any footage.
Get on that lady tree.
Don't let that tree leave under any circumstances. Don't let it leave.
Well, you've succeeded in that point at least. So well done. You're well on your way to seduction.
Anyway, yeah, it's a really fun game because it as boring and as mundane as it does sound, there's no combat either, which almost lost me. But once I started to allow myself to understand the concept and what the game was trying to prove, is that you have to it has a natural evolution of society in real world time, because you can't do everything for yourself. You can't, as one person, you cannot get enough skill points or spec points to be able to develop the technology that you have to try to save the world, because the asteroid's going to hit no matter what. Like it is going to impact the planet.
So you have to work with other people.
Yeah. So the way that talent points works in the game are talent points are given in the game by calorie consumption or your nutrition. So like your you're encouraged to have a balanced diet of like carbs, proteins, fat,
Who made this
and
game,
something else,
Greenpeace?
and vitamins.
What is
It
going
sounds
on
like
here?
that. It sounds like it was. I don't know who developed it. Somebody on the server was saying that it was originally developed to be like a teaching game or something like that.
Yeah,
because
It sounds like it.
yeah,
It sounds like it.
education.
I recall years ago getting an email, I think, about this very game, and it being, that it's like we're trying to teach some ecological ideas through a sort of survival gameplay, and we're going to be bringing this build in an accelerated version to conventions so people can try and beat it there. Like people got like an hour or something to try and do it, but
it's probably the same game.
yeah, I mean,
mean,
it probably is.
Because
I
you
want
have to.
my games to be a positive experience where we all grow and learn together. I want to crush people. I want to destroy
Well,
their balls. I want
Well,
them to
you can be
rage
destroyed. I mean,
You have
the
DOTA
planet.
for that.
It's hard to get
Constant
much
ball
more.
crushing experience.
It's hard to get much more finite than an astroroid just destroying the planet. I mean,
So
it's,
can I fuck everybody else over and force the destruction of the planet? That's my big question. Can I put myself in a position where I'm like, guys, I'm going to build the giant lever that we pull that fixes everything, and they'll say, cool, you've got that. And at the last one, I'll be, it's almost ready, and I'll say, I never even started building it. We're all going to die. Could I do that?
you can make like plants and animals completely extinct if you over harvest, if you over farm, or if you pollute the soil too much or the air or that sort of thing. Like, you can do that, but the other players will try to stop you without combat. Without combat, the only way there's
How
no
the hell do you stop
there's no
them then?
combat. You can stop it, which
He's
is
out.
through the
He's
economy.
What is this hippie shit? Get him out!
That's-
All right.
What kind of man are you, boy?
All right, never mind. I'm just playing Darkest Dungeon.
Good.
It sounds interesting.
Darkest Dungeon. I like it. I thought it was
Dungeon is a wonderful game.
I thought it was a pretty lousy premise for a game, but the longer that I played it, and I realized that it's not supposed to be anything about the environment or anything like that, but it's actually a society simulator from the ground up with everyone having a common goal and how people have to develop an economy because they've got to trade, they have to sell their skill trades, and they've got a carpenter, they've got a fisherman, they've got someone who specializes in building furniture and stuff, which also increases the amount of skill points you get, that sort of thing. That's interesting to me. And as someone who enjoys the frothingly realistic combat and all that stuff, like,
Get
it's
out of
enjoyable
here with
I
that
thought you
word.
said there were no combat.
there is no combat. I'm saying that I'm somebody who is usually like that, but
He
I
likes
enjoy this game.
frothingly realistic. Just
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a tagline.
Frothingly
on a
realistic.
review. 9 out of 10. Frothingly realistic.
That's gonna again on my book, Something Seduction. One of the quotes on the back is gonna be frothingly realistic.
That would be amazing.
There is no way in a million years I would play this game outside of a private server environment. That sounds like hell.
It does, doesn't it?
Is there
you'd
anything
bump
in
into
there
people
that
like me.
would prevent
Terrible.
griefing? Like, what is there in there to prevent griefing?
Well, you claim plots of land, and you claim like who can access like your storage chests or your workbenches or that sort of thing. The thing is that one person by themselves cannot screw up the entire planet. They
It would
also
require some effort. Okay.
they also, even if they tried, they would not be able to grief you. And if it gets like, if they cheat or something, you can just ban them from the server. But
Yeah.
we don't
That's why I'm
on
saying I wouldn't
Ziggy's
touch
server
it
we
with
don't have that issue.
No, wouldn't
Yeah,
touch
it's
it
a
with
private
hobbies
zone.
and
That's the thing.
learning,
You'd only play this kind of game in a private server.
Oh yeah, I would never recommend trying to put it playing on public. But
How many
But,
people would you say you would need playing on a regular on a server to actually beat it?
I would say at a bare minimum, like the absolute minimum would be 4 to 5.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
not a solo game. I mean, you can manipulate how fast skill points are accumulated, because that's what the game is gated by, is how fast you earn skill points. Because yes, if you turned up the skill point acceleration high enough, yeah, you could do everything. It's still going to take you time to build everything, though.
Do you know
And-
what's interesting? I think is I know you were saying that you play Eve, and Eve is a game where the entire economy is built by other players. Like that's one of the big selling points of Eve, is other than stuff you get from killing the NPCs and then selling that or using it on the market, everything is made by the players. All the ships, all the components, all of that stuff. So I
Yep.
find it interesting that you're playing a game like that where everything's made for a kind of common goal, of being nice and saving the planet. And there's, on the other hand, you also play Eve, where the common goal is, we're going to give you stuff to kill each other with, and you can pay me money for that privilege. Like there's a big world of difference between Eco and Eve, isn't there?
Oh,
That's
yeah. I mean, I haven't played Eve in years, but yeah,
so when you played, what corp were you in?
Oh, I didn't have a corporation. I was just playing with friends. I had maybe 3 other people who were playing. Yeah.
You weren't a high sec like miner or farmer. Were you in nullsec? Were you in nullsec?
I was doing nullsec data breaching for a while because that was a lot of fun. That was very profitable.
Are we about to get some gatekeeping going on here?
Default NPC corpse?
Maybe.
Oh!
Was he not a real player? Was he not
No,
a
he's not a real
gamer?
player. What are you talking about? You got to be in a corp. You got to go and slaughter your enemies and destroy them.
I wasn't good enough to be in a
recoils in horror. He shouts to the sky, "Close the gates! Close the gates! There is filth attempting to enter our blessed holy lands."
Oh, boy. I'm stunned. I thought you were an Eve player. I take it back.
Not anymore.
Tell us about the other games you've been playing. Barbie Simulator or Friendship Harmony game.
With Candy Heart's Friendship Harmony coming out this fall.
And the Civ 6 expansion.
And the Civ 6, of course, which is called Rise of Empire?
Rise and Fall.
Rise and Fall, yes. Although there's very little actual falling going on in it, I noticed. It's like, you're in a dark age. It's like, well, that's inconvenient.
Yeah, no, I've heard that apparently it's like, you can you can do a load of stuff, then it's like, oh, you didn't expand your religion, so you're in a dark age now. Like, it's kind of random what stuff you need to do.
I mean, it's not random so much, you know. You do know what you're getting, but it's not properly balanced. At least the last time I played it, they may have patched it since, for game speed. So if you play faster game speed, it becomes very difficult to actually get enough points before the next era hits. If you're
what's weird is it's like the movement allowance for units doesn't scale with game speed, which is one thing I think they should actually think about. Is if I have a tank and I'm playing on quick, it should move more than a tank on epic game mode. Like, it shouldn't be just 2, because the world, if I'm playing a large world on quick, and I know one of the things you have to do is find a natural wonder, my dude should move quicker because it's a quicker game mode. I've got less time to do it.
Yeah, I can't find it. Exactly. Yeah. That is true. I mean, it's with that game, it's strange because I still feel like I haven't experienced any of the new features causing me so many problems that I'd say that, oh, this is a really new experience for me. Like, I've never got an emergency. To the point where I thought it was an endgame mechanic until Sinvicta told me otherwise. Like, no, I had one happening, like, really early on. I'm like, what? Really? And so did Jesse and other people like that. Like, oh. And people
I've had
say,
3 or 4 in one campaign.
Loyalty is such a big deal. Like, you got to constantly keep an eye on that, especially during a dark age, because you'll end up losing all your cities. I'm like, they seem fine. They're all on, like, 100. They seem okay, because, you know, I don't expand very fast. I focus on a small number of cities. I guess I'm fine. So a lot of the big mechanics, I haven't really been affected by all that much. So it's been weird for me. It's like, yeah, I'm having fun, but
I'm not. Are you playing on Chieftain difficulty by any chance? Or?
No, I'm playing on difficulty 7 of 8, whatever that is.
That is not deity. That is it one above
could be
Emperor?
Could be a mortal emperor or something like that. Yeah. I don't play on 8. 8 has a tendency of just destroying me.
That's for the YouTube specialists. When I watch to win a game of Immortal Civ in 7 turns. So like,
exactly. 7 is fine. 7 is fine. But for some reason, I just haven't really run into an awful lot of that stuff. I need to, I guess, start yet another game and see if I actually do get an emergency and all that sort of thing. Or I might just go straight into a diplomatic faction and really go hard on the diplomacy, get some early alliances and really work on building those up, because alliances, when you invest time in them, are worth a lot.
That's good to hear. Diplomacy's been shit in Civ for a long fucking time. Like, I don't even play it single player because it's like the diplomacy with other people is so amazing. Like, I mean, it's a problem. If you've got a single player game that's also multiplayer, you play it multiplayer, and then you play single player, you're like, how come the AI is so stupid? It's like, because it's not people. Like,
Because it's not people. You're
Right.
never going to be able to emulate that. You know, you
But
play...
well, you say that, TB. You say that. But lest we forget, OpenAI, which made a bot that plays Dota 2, they made a bot. For anyone that doesn't know, OpenAI is a project. Elon Musk tweeted about it. This was at TI7 last August in Seattle.
Isn't this when he was
Big
like,
Dota.
I'm afraid of the future?
Exactly, because it was like they made a bot that played Dota for like several months against itself, and it was given a very basic rules about what's good and what's bad. Then it just learnt the game, and it was able to beat the best players in the world over, like, if you played a 5-game series, the computer's going to win. Eventually, now it's at the point where beating it is like a massive achievement because it's so good. It's only 1v1, both mid, both Shadow Fiend. That's all it can do at the moment. So it's like one hero, one setup, which is 1v1 mid, and it's perfect. It plays perfectly, and the players are playing against it. The only way they could beat it is by like cheesing it and kind of figuring out ways that the AI hadn't figured out yet. But
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, this is like learning technology. How about you just have Civ 7, program the version of it, and it just goes off and plays itself for a year. And then your AI should be fucking amazing. If you
Fucking
rack it up to
unbeatable,
immortal,
more
it should be like, holy shit, this thing's unbeatable.
Well, I don't know about that, because what it's Dota, at least in the 1 versus 1 sort of mid lane format with one specific hero, etc., compared to say StarCraft, which is what they've been working on, having AI play StarCraft for the last few years, like real AI, and it can't even get close to
It's
a real
difficult.
player.
It's a lot. But
There's
I mean,
a
this is the
lot
thing: is we
more
will
to
get
it.
there. We
Well,
will
eventually
get there.
we will. Yeah, totally. Eventually we will. I don't know how complex Civ is relative to that, and I have to wonder. A lot of the advantages an AI would get, i.e., its speed, are completely negated by a turn-based game.
True.
So it makes me think, really, actually, would an AI be that good at Civilization? It is a board game with a set of rules. We've seen that AI can beat the best Go
Go.
player in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting documentary I watched on Netflix. I can't remember
Yeah.
what it's called, but I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it?
I did not. No. I
It's
just
well
heard
worth a
about
watch
it.
for anyone that's a fan of AI and stuff. And I mean, Demis Habisis, I can't remember how you pronounce his name. He used to make games. Like, he made games with Peter Molyneux and stuff back in the
Yeah.
day. And now he's doing all this stuff with this, I can't remember what it's called. Deep Mind, not Deep Mind. What's the
Deep Mind.
Go bot? It's Deep Mind?
Yeah, it is
Something
DeepMind.
like that.
That's what's working on StarCraft at the moment as well.
Right. So he's like, we can crack these games. These are games with rules, and computers love rules. If you give them a set of rules, they'll beat it. And like you said, the advantage a computer has is perfect timing, perfect reaction, like frame perfect reactions. And that's the reason that people are losing this mid battle to this OpenAI bot is its reactions are superhuman. So what you're saying
Yeah.
about board games, the thing is, the computer has even more time. If it's not time sensitive, it can go away and run a million recursions of what's
True.
the best move.
But,
and do
but
it.
in theory, it also has imperfect information. Like, this is the problem that it's having with StarCraft, is players have imperfect information. On a chessboard, yeah, sure, AI can beat a human because they have perfect information. Go, they have perfect information. StarCraft has Fog of War. Civ has
Yeah.
Fog of War. And you've got to think about how many potential game states there can be in a game of StarCraft at any given time or a game of Civ at any given time.
Right.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's where the problems really start to creep in for AI. So I would be very curious as to how good you could genuinely make an AI at a game like Civ, considering, you know, what's been going on with StarCraft, which is that they've been getting their fucking asses handed to them.
I think if we just give it enough time, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
literally computer. It's literally a
Oh, yeah,
question
we're all
of
gonna
processing
die.
power, and
There's
that's
no
it.
doubt about it. We're all going to die. It's just a question of when.
Yeah. How long have we got? That's the question.
The AI in Civ has traditionally never been good though. Like my
No,
first
no.
Civ game was 5, and the AI was awful.
It's
like-
terrible.
Yeah, and
It's always been
I-
bad.
in 6 it seems like they have absolute everyone is so the denouncing that comes in that happens in Civ 6
Oh,
makes
God.
absolutely no sense. You can
Yeah.
meet
They're
meet
dealing with some of that.
who was it? It was the Mapuche for Lautaro or whatever in the new in Rise and Fall. It was on my stream the other day. I met him. One turn later, he denounced me, and the exact quote on the screen was, "He just plain doesn't like you."
Yeah. They're actually doing something about that. There was an article
That's stupid.
Yesterday about sexist leaders in that game. They decided, which was a pretty dumb idea, to add a feature whereby a leader could just not like you because you're the wrong gender, either because you're the same gender as they are or because you're the opposite sex. The problem with that is there's literally no way to fix that. So you're stuck with that the entire game. There's nothing, you can't work around that other than wipe them off the map, which seems like a very poor choice.
Yeah, they don't give you trades. They any trades they do give you are just terrible. And it's like, no, I'm not gonna. Then they start like demanding, and that lowers your rep even further with them. Then they declare war. It's like, this is why everyone plays domination.
It's a pain in the dick. It's as simple as that. You know, you want to be able
or
to
the
work...
vagina.
Yeah, indeed. You want to be able to work around those issues. You can't do that when they throw that in there. So apparently they're changing that, and the just plain don't like you thing, I think they're also changing that as well.
That blew my mind. I was like, I mean, most of the time, if you meet like China or something, they'll denounce you within 5 or 10 turns because you don't have the same government or you don't have enough wonders or something like that. But it was literally the turn after I met him.
Though. That makes a degree of sense, and you can change that situation.
Yeah. And I never understood the setting in Civ 5 where it was like, you know, randomized personalities. That didn't seem to do anything. They all just they stay the same. I mean, they still denounced you. They still gave you the terrible deals. You maybe made one friend, but even then, like towards the late game of Civ 5, your friends that you've had allies with for the entire game, they'll start their relationship will start tanking because they get afraid of you.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do.
I think one of the weird things about Civ is it's the same leader the whole game. Like you're going to be like, I don't like this guy, but maybe another guy will get elected and we can get along. Like
that is a bit of an odd one, isn't it?
If Gandhi doesn't like you, Gandhi doesn't like you. He's not going to like you for 4,000 years. Like that's it. You're stuck with Gandhi. Who doesn't?
It's the same thing that happened to Jesse though. In the first time that we played, when he got attacked by Persia, he was sandwiched in between I think 3 city-states.
Yeah, basically my continent was 3 city-states to the right of me, and then Persia to the left. And I was settling. I was doing fine. But Persia was like, "Hey, we want to go over there." And I was like, I don't know what. Okay. And he's like, fuck it. I'm going to kill you. I was like, okay. It was like turn 10. I was like, all right, then.
We had to restart because Jesse lost his capital. I have never seen the Civ AI go that ham. And we were playing in Prince difficulty. Like
that's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, I have never seen
Persia is a dick in that game. There's no doubt about that. You know, they're very aggressive, but Jesus.
Yeah,
those early wars never help anybody. Like it just sets everybody back. I'd like to see. There's a couple of civilizations where you can definitely come out of early wars ahead. Like they'll give you a bunch of points for golden ages and stuff, and you'll get rewarded for it. But the vast majority of civs, if you get into an early war, that just puts you behind everybody.
Depends if you take stuff, I think. Like, if you can take and keep stuff, you're going to be ahead.
Yeah.
Because if you've got, say, 3 cities, and they've got 3 cities, and you take their 3 cities, like, Civ 6 is actually a lot more forgiving about larger empires. Civ 5 was like, what, you got 5 cities now? Oh, no, it's too many.
Well, I mean, Civ 6 has got the problem of loyalty now, so...
apparently so, which I haven't seen. So they've
it hasn't affected me, but yeah, if you, I imagine if you took 3 cities that early on in the game, you would have massive...
I got the sniffles.
You're getting the flu from me.
Oh,
It's internet flu, Jesse.
The AI is coming for us. They've figured it out. Like the thing that I don't know with Civ 6, I feel like they tried to, and I like it, the dynamic event stuff that happens, the emergencies as they're called. They try to sort of do what Pyrion was talking about, whereas and TB2, whereas if you do get put behind because of a Civ going just too aggro, those events pop up and you get to split, like you gain a combat strength bonus for it. Yeah. You get 20 turns to take an objective, and then everyone splits a pot of the gold, like, you know, like a pot of 5,000 gold amongst the people who are actually involved in the emergency. I think that was something that Civ needed for a while. Now, people have been telling me that that existed in Civ 4, but I never played Civ 4.
It did not.
Okay. I didn't think so, but...
Certainly not in that form.
There were no emergencies or whatever they call them. That was not in Civ 4. In Civ 4...
There was a World Council, though, right, in Civ 4?
There was a World Council, I think, in Civ 4, but the other difference in Civ 4 that I don't know why they took it out of Civ 5 and Civ 6 was that you had these events that popped up, like one of their planes, your neighbor's planes, just crashed in your territory. Do you want to keep it and get a tech boost, or do you want to give it back and get a boost like to diplomacy? I will give it back and get the diplomacy boost.
That would be awesome.
We're the same religion. We've been neighbors for a while and we've been friends, like all that stuff. So you'd see, you could mouse over that civ and it would show these are all the pluses, these are the minuses. We have close borders, we have different religions, and then we're going to go to war. And it made sense because it's like, well, we're this faith and you're that faith, and we have shared borders. There's probably going to be trouble, but we share a border and we're the same faith. We've been friends. I gave you that plane back, and you gave you that holy book you found and everything. So it's all cool, and we were like buddies, and that made sense. You built up a storyline.
That's something I wish that we had. Like I didn't know that I might have to play Civ 4 now because that sounds like the Civ game of
Civ 4
my
was
dreams. Because
great. You had corporations in the late game. You could sell sushi to people. Sushi, the sushi corporation. It was great. I loved Civ 4.
Civ 5 had that as well, didn't it? In Brave New World, that was a late game mechanic, if I recall correctly, in the last expansion.
I think you could get blue jeans and trade them and some stuff.
Denim, or jeans.
Yeah,
There were corporations.
Like
you actually had to build a corporation headquarters, and that was the headquarters of that corporation. You send a little guy out with a briefcase.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Deliver the sushi, and there you go. You got your sushi. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love Civ 4. The only problem people had was Civ 5 had a version of it. Stack. You had these army death stacks that were like unbeatable.
Yeah,
you build a death stack as well. It's like, I feel like the problem I have with Civ 4's hex-based one unit thing is, well, why do I have an archer here and a swordsman here and a guy here and a guy here? I'm like, wouldn't they be in one army?
Right.
Like, work together. It's like that's the way armies work. It's not like there's no room for my guy. It's like, it's the whole of Italy. I can't fit an army in it.
Yeah, why is my ancient warrior taking the same amount of space as my heavy chariot? That doesn't make any sense.
The main issue is that it just became boring death stacks. It's really as simple as that. Like you can make the argument of common sense. There are a couple of things you can do, like a siege tower can be moved into the same hex as
and you can have cores
as
now, right?
So
I was going to say, to be fair, you can have armies and cores now,
So you can to some extent do that, but they really just thought, look, death stacks are ridiculous. And to be fair, death stacks were ridiculous. They were absolutely absurd.
There has to be a halfway ground between one unit and a stack. I feel like you should be able to build an army, 4-unit composition. We've got artillery, you don't.
There should be combos, I think. There's a little bit of that in there already. Like I said, with the siege tower and stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe you could get certain units would combo together into a formation.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, and then they get a bonus. Yeah, and they get a bonus for that, and they would only take up one thing. But maybe, the downside was they both took damage if they were attacked and things like that. And then, of course, you got your cores and your armies as well. So,
or maybe they had different attributes. Like if you put, it's like you could combo these two units, but if you try to put like a tank with like say mobile armor in the same core or the same stack, maybe it lowers their total defense down because they can't look all ways, or something like that. I think that core combinations that would be really neat to say. Yeah, I want to take my archers and my spearmen. I can call them the front line or whatever, and they just take up one hex. That sort of thing would be really good. That's a good idea for.
Because that's a big problem with attacking cities is sometimes it's like I just literally can't fit my guys around, and it's like we've got the guys. Pretty sure we'd be able to fit around a city. Like how many dudes are in this unit of swordsmen anyway? Like a million. It's taking up this whole.
It's a city.
Yeah, the city is like this big.
Yeah, it's one hex. It's the same amount of space that my horsemen took back in the ancient times.
So I do feel like sometimes the AI or the players will just build a city with like 4 mountains around. It's like untakeable. That's it. There's no way you can take it. You got to wait until modern age. Like, come on.
Oh my God, there was one. What was the? I might have been just. I was playing by myself.
No,
I don't know if it was
Sinvicta. That was with me.
Oh, where I literally discovered an area of the map that was, from what I could see at the beginning, was just all surrounded by mountains. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And people were like, you have to go to the coast and come up around the south. I was like, okay, literally did that. It is an area completely surrounded by mountains with something in the middle. We just called it Shangri-La because there's no way to get to it. I have no idea how to get there.
Natural wonders in there, like two natural wonders. You locate those, you win the game or something.
I guess it was. I have no clue how you would get in there with a unit except for like
time to invent a power of flight.
Yeah,
get a fucking hot air balloon and get over there, sonny.
Yeah.
It's that city is untakeable. in Civ terms, anyway.
It would also be utter shit. Like you wouldn't,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to build
would.
anything around it. So what's the point?
Bear in mind, you get those bonuses for mountains for science and stuff. I don't know why
Yep.
a mountain is like the most scientific thing in the world.
Yeah,
It's a
assuming you
mountain.
could fit a
Mountains are awesome,
district
bro.
there.
Mountains are
Or
so
faith.
cool.
You can also
And
have
jungle.
faith too.
Yeah, you get a
Jungle
big
and
holy
mountains
site
is- That's
bonus.
where science came from. I mean,
Yeah.
Isaac Newton lived on a mountain in a jungle, I guess. That's where
Where else
Isaac
you gonna
Newton-
put your telescope? You can put it up high.
Telescope.
Yeah, you put your telescope up high. It's where your observatory is, and also your holy site. So it does make some
Yeah.
degree of sense.
Yep.
There was a game that I played a little bit of that I really don't want to play any more of, which is a bit of a shame because it was a game that was announced at E3 a couple of years ago, and we thought, oh, that looks really pretty, and it just sort of snuck out without any warning, without any real announcement of any description. That's Faye. I'm gonna
Yeah,
assume,
yeah. How'd that end up?
Hey, how's that
it's
spelled?
F-E.
F-E, but it's got an accent on it. So I'm going to assume Faye is how you pronounce it. Or Pho.
Sure.
I don't even know. But it came out with relatively little fanfare, which all I can say is if the developer was hoping for support from EA as part of their EA Originals program for marketing, they would be sorely disappointed because it's an Origin exclusive, so that's going to reduce the number of sales, and they barely advertised the damn thing.
Right.
It's just not very interesting. I'm going to be honest. Like, it is basically a 3D platformer. Doesn't really tell you much when it drops you into the world. Eventually, you figure out that you have to sing at certain animals, and you have to match the modulation of their song with yours, which is a giant pain in the dick with a mouse, by the way. I imagine it's probably easier with a analog stick. But if you were looking for that meditative experience, it's like, oh, this is nice and relaxing. It's actually just frustrating as hell. And when you eventually match it up enough, they'll follow you. And if they're the right color, they will maybe have a bouncy flower open for you so you can progress. And later on, there's a way to learn full-on adult animal songs that let you get access to powerful abilities and stuff. So it's a little bit Metroidvania. There's no actual combat in it, although there is avoidance of things that can kill you.
Interesting.
So that's in there. But for the most part, it's just a fairly simple platformer that initially it looks and sounds great until you realize that the majority of the game is just the same terrain with a different color palette swap on it. And it's like, oh, look at this wonderful purple pastel shaded thing. Isn't this beautiful? Then you move on to the next area. Oh, look at this wonderful orange pastel shaded thing. Where it's like, wait a minute. This is the same flat terrain, the same flat this and that. It actually makes it quite difficult to navigate. At least it would if there wasn't a way to instantly call this little bird to you that tells you where to go all the time. Doesn't do a particularly good job of it because it basically just goes as the bird flies. So if you follow it, you'll probably end up falling down a cliff. So, do watch out for that. But one assumes the point of the game is to get rid of the nasty aliens that are, for some reason, freezing the animals for whatever reason. It looks nice. It sounds nice. It's just really dull. Like,
Do you think that's sort of why we didn't see much about it aside from that
Maybe.
like rando E3 video? They're almost like, oh, that looks beautiful, but it just is beautiful, but not like a game.
Maybe. Like, I try and compare it, and I'm pretty sure this is what it's aiming for, to things like Journey and Brothers. Journey.
Which one was Journey?
Journey was the one where you're in the desert and you had the scarf that got longer.
Yeah, that
And
one was beautiful. The thing that made that one special is it was short. It didn't overstay
Yeah.
its welcome.
It
You
was
experienced it.
just under 2 hours. And the whole thing had a great sense of pacing. Like, you could just
Right.
keep going. You'd encounter new terrain and new crazy stuff all the time, new discoveries. It was an amazing experience through and through. Like, I never even, when I played Journey, I didn't even realize that I'd beaten it. Because I played the whole thing through in one setting and just got so lost in it that I beat the game. Like, wow, I don't think I've ever felt that way about a game before.
I feel
And-
like games like that are super rare for the obvious reason that that's really hard to
hard
pull
to
off.
do. Yeah, and Faye is not that game. Faye is
A lot of
apparently
games obviously try to ape that and be like, this is just going to be like a journey and you're just going to enjoy it. And it's like, you better nail that because it's
Yeah.
like people have an
Yeah.
expectation getting into a game. When you surprise them, I think that can be huge. But if you surprise them like, this sucks, then the response isn't just going to be meh. It's going to be like, this is disaster, this is terrible. Blah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a disaster, but I'd say, like, it's a 3-hour game that, like, constantly stops you because either you head in the wrong direction or the platforming's not that great, so falling down a thing and having to get back up and do the jump again is pretty common. There's a really good part of the platforming, which is very early on you get the ability to climb trees. And the tree climbing system, which frankly they should just base the whole game on this, is snappy as fuck. Like you press space, it immediately snaps onto the tree, and then you press space again, and it jumps up to the next part of the tree really quickly. And you can go up to the top of the tree really, really fast, and then launch yourself off the top, almost like a slingshot. That's good. If they'd based the whole platforming around that, and maybe added a glide in or something like that, and there probably is a glide somewhere in the game, then I would have found the platforming much more enjoyable. But a lot of it is the more traditional, can I jump up here? Well, I don't really know. The terrain is sort of flat shaded. Maybe I can get up there, maybe I can't. Let's try jumping at it. Oh, missed the jump. Better go around and do it again. That kind of thing.
Damn. I sometimes feel like a lot of these games have a great idea and then drag it out because they've realized that this great idea doesn't extend to enough hours.
No.
Make a game. And I kind of feel like, I'm sure you guys spoken about it at the time, but Firewatch did that for me in a big way, where I felt like you had a simple story, and rather than just tell us a story, you dragged it out into a multi-hour game, and a lot of it was just walk here without any peril. You just have to make your way. And I felt like a few games fall into that trap where they've got a nice idea and it's meant to be a nice journey, but in fact, to make it feel like you've paid for an actual full-length game, they add some shit in, like you fall off stuff and it's a pain in the ass to get back up. Rather than that being an important mechanic, it's like, how can we drag this out? Let's make it kind of
so that doesn't need to be there or anything like that. I found it difficult to get invested in it. It's, like I said, mechanically I don't find it all that enjoyable, and I'm going to try and push forward a little bit more just to see how the song mechanic works when you are dealing with full-on adult animals, because I have a feeling I'm trying to get these 4 eggs back for this big bird right now. I have a feeling they'll probably teach me a big song or whatever when I do that. So I want to do that and figure out exactly how that works. But outside of that, it's like, well, it's all these big empty areas, and some of them have purple crystals on them. If you collect enough purple crystals, you'll unlock an ability, and, you know, sort of Metroidvania-esque sort of thing. It's beautiful to experience and listen to, but to play, I found it generally tedious. It's unfortunate.
I feel like a lot of games that try to compare themselves or market themselves to other games in the same genre is just a bad idea. When Pyrion was talking about, you know, games emulating, trying to bring the magic of another particular game into their own world and taking their own take, like I cannot recall a time that the example that I'll use here is like for Dauntless, for example, which is a Monster Hunter.
Okay.
It's a Monster Hunter wannabe.
Yes.
And they really pushed hard to try to differentiate themselves. We're a Monster Hunter game, but we're not Monster Hunter, you know. And they went too far in the direction of, we wanted to differentiate ourselves, so we took out everything that makes Monster Hunter good.
Oh dear.
Just to sort of like do their own thing. And another game that came to mind, which is the poster child of this argument, is that it was a game called Convoy. I don't know if you guys ever played it.
Yes, I did play Convoy.
FTL, but not good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the biggest mistake that they made, and I actually did like Convoy for a while there. It wasn't FTL, but the biggest mistake, in my opinion, they made was that they literally tagged themselves as inspired by FTL. I feel like that's just something you shouldn't do, because as soon as you bring another game's name into your game, you are instantaneously going to skyrocket the expectations to be on the level of a masterpiece that FTL is. You're not going to be able to do it.
It's an incredible
you can't
game.
do it.
Like, I still play that game. It's amazing. Like,
I mean, FTL it's just a masterpiece. They, you know, and as a side note, I'm looking forward to playing Into the Breach as well.
I saw
good code for that,
like
and I'm very excited.
Tactics kind of thing, right? Is that like?
Yeah, it's more like Advance Wars by the looks of it.
Right.
Yeah,
I just got
like
code for it. I'm very excited to play it.
Yeah, Subset. I'm hoping that they make it more different than FTL, but still maintain that replayability. But going back to the example where with Faye, and you were talking about it being like Journey.
Yeah,
I never played Journey, but as an outsider, I've seen videos of it, and I've used the music as
Journey's fucking incredible.
Yeah, the music is incredible. It's like I feel like there's too many games that try to do that. Like, I mean, Dauntless, Phoenix Labs, God bless them. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe we can get a westernized Monster Hunter over here, but it's going to get mauled. I mean, I feel like Battleborn also suffered the same thing as well, which they were trying to. They're like, we're like Overwatch, but we're going to make sure you know that we're not Overwatch.
I don't know what they were trying to achieve.
Yeah, I can't tell you what that game was trying to do.
No, because it was simultaneously trying to evoke Overwatch and yet say we're not like Overwatch, which is true. They're not. They weren't.
But they didn't bring any of the good parts, though.
They weren't able to get their own message across. They weren't able to forge their own identity. By the way, just before we go to a break, since we're talking a bit about FTL, I did get a chance to play a little bit of a game last night that I think is hitting early access tomorrow called Abandoned Ship.
Ooh, I never heard of that.
So it is, it's FTL, but in the Age of Sail. But there's a Cthulhu-like cult chasing you.
I've seen this. My God. Yes, this looks really cool.
Yes,
right, I'm adding this to my wish list right now.
I think it's hitting early access tomorrow, and I played a good couple of hours of it last night, and a lot of it is very, very good. Some of it makes no fucking sense. Like the way that you progress onto the next area, there's literally a gate in the sea.
Yeah, and the sea is floating in black.
Yeah,
I just see
which
that,
is absolute nonsense. But if you can overlook that, it's very much a case of sail around the map. The longer you stay, the more likely it is the cult is going to come after you. Get upgrades for your ship, get new ships, train your crew members up to be good at stuff. The combat is pausable real time.
You sold me. That's it.
You can board ships, you can ram ships.
I'm looking at the combat right now where it's broadside versus broadside. This looks amazing.
18 hours, baby. I'm counting down. Like, this is like Age of Sail. That era is one of my absolute favorites. There's been very few games that have done it well for whatever reason.
It's got some fun shit in it.
This looks good.
It's got some fun mechanics. Like, it's got a distance mechanic whereby you can set one of 4 distances that you want to be away from the enemy ship. So if you want to board them, you want to get nice and close. Well, maybe the other guy thinks, I really don't want to get boarded by you. So they say, they turn away from you. How do you deal with that? Well, you can fire chain shot at them and start breaking their masts down so that they can't do that. Or maybe you've just got a faster ship than them and you can actually turn quicker than they can. Once you get close enough, if you charge up your maneuver bar, you can ram them, and you can also time a bracing button to let your guys brace themselves, so when the ramming happens, it knocks them flat on their ass for a couple of seconds, giving you the time to board their ship and start chopping them to pieces.
Nice.
I've actually found that is the most effective strategy. It's just chain shot them, get close enough, board their ship, because, of course, if you don't destroy their ship, you're probably going to get a couple extra resources from it and all that sort of thing. Otherwise, there's a lot of different interesting weapons you can get, and I've just swapped out my cannons for flamethrowers. I'm just like, yeah, sure. We're just going to have this one fires fiery balls, and this one is just literally a flamethrower. And it's great because it distracts the AI. They have to go and put the fires out, and that means they can't be loading their own cannons. So you're minimizing the amount of damage they're taking.
There's a kraken of some kind.
There is a kraken. Yeah. That attacks you every once in a while. It feels surprisingly complete for an early access game.
Awesome.
There's a couple of things about it. I'd like to see the melee combat improved because there's really nothing to it. It's just you right click on the enemy, and like you'll kite the AI to your medical station and shit like that. Kind of just like it's the same as in FTL.
A bit like FTL, yeah, very similar.
I'd like to see them like add some melee specific abilities and all that kind of thing. But
in FTL, there was always the threat that the enemy ship was going to jump out with your dudes on them, and you'd never see them again. Like that was the worst thing. You sent over your key mantis guys. You're like punching the shit out of them, and there's a guy just charging the engine field. Be like, get the engines. You don't get the engines in time.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in this, from what I can tell. So.
Can you rename your crew and your ship and stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I'm on.
Oh man,
I'm on board.
I'm watching I'm watching the Kraken attack right now. That looks right up my alley, man. That like.
Yeah, I've been attacked by a couple of times. It actually wasn't as threatening as it seemed. Like you just sort of, It's just a case of you have to flee it, so you've got to send your guys to chop the tentacles off before it slams your ship and does a bunch of damage. The game actually seems a little bit too easy right now. Maybe it's undertuned, but again, early access, there's a lot to go there, but what I played of it so far, I liked a lot, and I think there's a lot of potential there, so yeah.
Looks good.
I think
I'm down.
That might be the way to go if you're looking for a new FTL-like game.
Cool.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, whatever news we've got and whatever releases we've got. You're watching the Co-optional Podcast. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast. Yes, indeed, for the final 45 minutes or so of the show. It's been a relatively quiet week, honestly.
In terms of releases?
Not in terms of releases, but in terms of news.
I'm trying to think what's happened.
There's not really been a massive amount. There's been something which I guess this probably is kind of a big deal considering the size of the game. You can't really ignore it. But some people don't know that PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds has been suffering a great deal as of late as a result of Chinese cheaters.
Is that really what it is?
Apparently so.
Because I know that they've lost a ton of players or something. I mean, is it people giving up because of all cheaters?
There's definitely some of that. And obviously there's huge ban waves going out. But apparently cheating has become a fairly large problem, and the vast majority of people have blamed it on the Chinese. Now, as to what the evidence of that is, well, I assume a lot of it comes down to looking at someone's ping who killed you and saying, 400, that sounds a little suspect. But I actually learned that in some Chinese cyber cafes, they quite literally rent out cheat packages to people. If you can believe it. They buy bulk versions of these games, and they, for some extra money, you can enable some cheats.
Wow.
Which blows my mind. That's
crazy.
That's
do you know what
incredible.
The LAN cafes in China, to go back to when I was in Shanghai, we didn't have anywhere to play Dota at the hotel. So there was a LAN cafe around the corner, and we went there to go and play. Now, you would think that a LAN cafe, like any shop or store, you go in, you want to buy their product, you sign up for the membership, takes 2 seconds, bing, you're playing on a computer, you pay so much an hour. No. You have to be a member. In order to be a member, you need to have Chinese ID. No Chinese ID, you can't be a member. Now, for a while, you were able to sign up as a non-Chinese national, but now you can't.
That's strange.
Weird, right? So we were there, we
why?
had our passports, we had money. They were like, no, you can't sign up. Change the system's changed. You're not allowed to sign up. We were like, what do you mean we're not allowed to? It's a fucking LAN cafe. This guy's playing PUBG and Dota. I just want to go and play video games. No, you can't sign up.
That is
so
strange.
Something is very strange with the Chinese LAN cafes. Apparently, this is what we were told. Could be wrong. Was that the Chinese government likes to keep a track of what games have been played, who's playing them, what servers are playing, and all the rest of it. They like to have all that information. And if you're a foreign national and you sign up and you just play for a day, you could be anybody.
Okay.
So you need to have a proper ID, resident in China, so they can check up on you and come and knock on your door and say, hey, why are you just playing Naga Siren and rushing a Radiance? That's not good.
Interesting.
You got to get a different build. Give them like a new build or whatever.
I mean, there's a degree of that in South Korea. A lot of your online activity is tied to a government-issued ID. But
do you mean the Korean Esports Association?
Casper,
my friend,
yes.
I don't know if I actually have my Casper card on me. I'm not a member, but my friend was, because he was resident in South Korea for a while. I think I've got it in somewhere else. I've got it anyway. My friend I stole his Casper card because he didn't need it anymore. And then you actually need the fucking card. Like, that's it. You have to be registered with Casper. That's it. You're not allowed to play competitive gaming. Crazy. Like, you can't imagine that.
Yeah, they do all sorts of stuff like that. As to why the cheating is going on, there's various reasons. Some people cheat for drops. Some people cheat just because it feels good to win. And PUBG is apparently rife with that. Now, there was an announcement today, I believe, that they're going to be experimenting with some ping-based matchmaking. There's been a lot of requests to just lock China out completely. Just to region lock it, put them on their own servers, keep them the hell away from everything else. They have resisted doing that. and they are looking into ping-based matchmaking. You know, kind of one of the reasons why I suppose they would resist doing that is because
big market.
Well,
they're buying the game in bulk.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah, they're
there is
buying the game
that.
for 100 at a time.
yeah.
there is that, although one has to, you know, it's not like it would stop them playing with a huge amount of Chinese players as well. But it also comes down to how easy that would be to bypass with a VPN. And you might say,
Yeah.
well,
The ping is still an issue, though, right? Like, if it's ping locked, which I think makes sense, there's no way around that. There's no
Yeah,
way around that. If you're
there
in
isn't.
China, you're playing on US servers or EU servers, you're fucked. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
you-
things over 100, you're out. That's it.
yeah, I can't imagine you're going to get very far that way. So it seems
Yeah.
like, you know, rather than just region locking, a sort of ping-based matchmaking seems like a more sensible solution. You're still not going to get rid of everybody, but, you know, you need to take a big enough dent out of it. And you might say, well, VPN should do it. Like, you know, who really knows about VPNs? In China, probably quite a lot of people, honestly.
Yeah.
I would imagine a lot of gamers in China are well aware of how
Everybody
VPN
uses
works.
a VPN in China.
Yeah.
When I was there, I couldn't even use, like, you can't get access to anything Google related on your phone. Like a whole bunch of websites that you just rely on, no access. If you use a VPN, you're straight on them. And everybody's like, oh, just use a VPN. I'm like, I don't want to get arrested in China for using a VPN. So fuck that.
Right.
I'll just get
I
by.
have to
Because-
wonder if you could use a VPN to also bypass this ping restriction, you know, because if the server is ultimately testing the ping from the VPN and not from your actual machine, you
True.
could quite easily get a VPN that has 100 ping and get matched to that. I mean, it may
True.
cause quite a laggy experience, but if you're running
you need
hacks,
something that looks
that
not
doesn't
just
matter,
at
right?
the ping. You need to look at not just at the ping, but the actual input delay, and you'd be lagging. Like, you would be lagging.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what the cheats are for.
But if you're cheating, it doesn't matter, surely, if
Yeah.
you're lagging or not. So,
There must be a way around. Jesus Christ.
Jesse got it.
Self-driving cars. We got self-driving cars. We put a man on the moon, TB. It can't be beyond us as a human race to
I'm
make
sure,
PUBG.
I'm sure we
cheat-free.
could figure it out. You know, I'm always in favor of the good old shadow banning technique of put the cheaters with the cheaters and let them sort each other out on some giant battle death island. You know, just let.
And
Yeah.
can we all watch it?
Yes, let
Again,
the
I
cheaters
said this
murder
last
the
time. I'm going to
cheaters.
say it again. I would watch a cheaters esports league where it's all about coming up with a cheat to win. And I would watch the hell out of that. I
So
say,
you'd
like,
want to watch people who could take the best steroids and the best drugs and compete in a drug Olympics.
are you kidding me? Of course I would.
Yeah.
I want to watch.
If
they
that
could
wasn't
take
a
any
severe
sport.
health concern, I absolutely would watch that. You
I
kidding me?
would watch all that if they were like, yeah, take whatever drugs you want, do whatever you want to your body, and like also fuck it, give them like chainsaw arms. I would watch the shit out of that.
That's
That
the
would be
same as
great.
like you know, the way that they've obviously and for very good reason limited what you can do in Formula One. Like there, if I recall correctly, there are some less popular racing formulas that just let you do whatever the fuck you want. Like I would watch that.
Hell
with,
yeah.
with the
You
fucking
say that, but
flamethrowers
is
and the
sport
chainsaws
dead?
and
Is sport dead? I want to see an even contest of skill
I don't.
and tactics.
No,
I,
hell
I,
no.
see the
I
guy with the
don't.
biggest chainsaw.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
I
you
want to see
kidding
us
me?
before.
the
There's a
best
video game before.
flamethrower.
It's a combination of both. It's skill,
the biggest engine.
tactics,
No.
raw ingenuity,
No.
and machine.
The most
Oh
armor
my God.
placing and the most money. That's what I want to see.
Oh,
I would.
Yeah.
If they could just make a mutant football league, I'd be all about that. I would watch the shit out of that.
Oh, you mean like actual?
I mean, in
like,
real life.
football.
I
Yeah,
mean,
okay.
actual mutants. Yes, I want them.
actual mutants.
Actual mutants.
Yeah,
And I want them. And I want them to fight and kill each other. And I'm just saying. I feel like the Romans at their height had it right. Just
Wow.
gladiatorial combat.
I'm leaving.
See, if everyone's
very
cheating,
sensitive about
then
the Romans.
it's an even battlefield. If everyone's
Extremely
cheating,
sensitive about the Romans.
I'm just
honestly.
getting a beer. I just,
Yeah.
my people, we were invaded by the Romans, Jesse. Okay, it's
Yeah,
still
but
a
here's the
little
thing.
war.
Wasn't everybody? Let's be real. Wasn't everybody?
Quite a lot of
America
people
invaded
were.
by the Romans, Jesse? Really? Was it?
I'm gonna
No,
go
I
with
mean,
probably not.
ancestors of the Romans, sure. Yeah, people down the family tree invaded the shit out of America. You're
Eventually.
right.
Who invaded America? Nobody's ever invaded America.
Are you kidding me?
No,
Look,
I'm not kidding you.
The
It was
origi-
ours.
The
If you're saying we
original
invaded it, it was
colonists.
ours. You stole it from us, you colonial
Oh, dear.
bastards. Give it back.
What do
Yeah.
you mean?
Well,
It was
anyway,
somewhere
back
there's a
on
native
track.
family like fuck this chat.
Oh yeah, no,
and
you're
fuck
right.
these guys.
Back on track.
I forgot about those guys.
At the
And I've got
moment,
friends who are Native American. I apologize.
apparently, they are delaying development of PUBG until they get a handle on these cheaters. So, yeah, if you want to know why you're not getting patches and updates at a good rate, this has a lot to do with it.
Gotcha.
Blame the cheaters.
I jumped
the
off the
way-
PUBG train a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I haven't played it in months. Like honestly.
Now, I occasionally dip on Fortnite as a solo game. That's quite good, but for PUBG, nah. Too much running
By the
around.
way, talking of cheaters and griefers getting banned, Dota has a new rule. Whereas if you fuck up too much and you get voted, here's the ban: 6-month ban.
Yeah.
Woo!
Man.
Good night.
I
Good
that's
night.
like, you ain't play. You better go find another game, motherfucker, because you are out. So
Wow.
if you get too many reports or you feed down mid and just give up, that's it. You're out 6 months.
That's
That's
great.
what Heroes of the
Good.
Storm needs. Heroes of the Storm needs that. Blizzard just needs to come
They'll
down hard
never
on the
do that
people.
shit.
I know they won't. I'm just saying they need it though.
People grief in Heroes of the Storm isn't just playing
Oh,
Heroes
yeah.
of the Storm, griefing by definition. I mean,
Roasted.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
you're a big fan of Heroes, aren't you, Jesse? You play Heroes of the Storm.
Me, I'm a fan of.
He has an abusive
of
relationship
Blizzard.
with
I'm not a
Heroes.
fan of when they do shit wrong. Like I will always call out Blizzard on their wrongness, and Heroes has been a mess since day one. I
Let me
still
just
play
say
it
one
because I'm a fanboy, and
The
like,
basketball dunking guy, Asmodan or whatever his name is.
Asmodee.
yeah,
That shit's legit. Like I played it. I did a charity thing last year for where I played it, and I tried to make a load of money for charity. Like it was like I raised like $8 grand, $9 grand for charity. I had to qualify. Every game I won was worth a certain amount. I was like, I raised $8 grand for charity. I'm like super happy. I was the worst person in
It's-
that drive. Some
but
guys
here's
raised,
the
like,
thing is,
40 grand. I felt terrible, but
That-
here's the thing about Heroes. Heroes is a game where at its core it's simple. That's what makes it fun. And so I don't have to like stress out about too much stuff. I can just jump in and have fun.
it's like a
and,
20-minute game. It's like
yeah. It's simple, it's fun. But the problem is the layers of issues that come with that simple fun because Blizzard is just like, this is the game we're making. I have a problem with the community, and the community is just like devil children. Like but it's a Blizzard problem. If you say something wrong about Blizz, it's like, what? You've insulted my child. It's yeah. I have issues with them as a overarching fandom.
Okay.
The issue that I had recently, which stopped me from covering it on my channel for now, is the fact that matchmaking has gotten somehow even worse. But it's even worse in Hero League, which is the ranked version of what Heroes has. And I dipped in for one game. I was like, let me just see if it's gotten any better. Nope. And I realize it's not fair to base everything off of judgment off of just one game, but I've got almost years of evidence of it just not getting any better. And for the record,
it's uneven or
so there was a bug this past season. The biggest thing that they revealed at BlizzCon was that there's going to be this. It's called performance-based matchmaking, which is that it's your ELO is less. All right, you're not your MMR is less weighted against your win-loss versus like how you performed in the game. It's a nice concept. The problem is that it also introduced a brand new bug at the beginning of the placement matches. Every season you have to do 10 placement matches, which is just nuts. Okay. And what happened with this season in particular, it was that people who were making fresh accounts or who had barely played the game at all, because of the new system, it was starting to introduce people at a higher accelerated rate of MMR than people who've been playing the game for years. So you were having people who were in like say gold or silver last season be put in like masters. And that's not fun for them because they're getting destroyed. That's not fun for the Master League players because they don't know what they're doing, because they're teammates. So that caused a chain reaction. Blizzard finally pulled back. And to be clear, it wasn't the performance-based matchmaking that caused the issue. It led to it though, because of all the new things that it sort of introduced with the way that ranks were now calculated and that sort of thing. So that became. That for me, I had to stop because I was super hype about this season, and I had to stop playing because it was just so bad. I mean, I was getting people who were doing placement matches in like Diamond League, which is mid tier. It's Grandmaster, Master, Diamond. I mean, but seeing people who are still doing their placements in Diamond was absolutely ridiculous. And the problem is that even for the people who are winning, it wasn't fun because the matchmaking was so imbalanced, is that the people who are winning, it was like such a snowbally game. It's like I barely even did anything. Like it's not a meaningful, fulfilling win sort of a thing. And then on the opposite side, if you're the team that's getting completely snowplowed over, it's like this. Like I don't want to play this game. This sucks.
Yeah, it's. I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's just Sinvicta's nailed it perfectly. There's just flaws in it that need to be addressed that would make it the game it should be, but no one ever does it. Like no one ever. Instead, they're like, here's another thing we're going to change instead. It's like, yo, just literally take a month and fix these things, and you'd have an awesome, solid game.
Jesse sorry, go ahead.
No. Go for it.
Jason, he made the perfect analogy. This was years ago. Yeah, this is at least a year, maybe even 2. Jesse said that this was Blizzard's chance to have their Saints Row. They have the crazy, outlandish, bonkers game that like arcadey, make it as fun as possible. But the second that it started going more towards esports is when these sort of issues started to become more prevalent, because it's like, well, don't try to be League, don't try to be Dota. It's not going to happen. You know, if you could stand out from the rest by just saying, here's all the characters that we all know and love from the Blizzard universes. We've loved it for decades now. This game is just wacky. It's just crazy arcade fun. Like something better than a StarCraft 2 mod, but like with a little bit more structure to it. Like and Jesse nailed the point on the head right there, which is like, you know, this could be the Saints Row to the GTA of the MOBA world. Because I mean, this is, yeah, there's going to be rules, but it's going to be fun. You know, make it no more than 10 minutes per game. I mean, you're going to see turnover like crazy, and you know, make some money. But instead, the more serious that it seems like Heroes has gotten, the less fun it's become for a lot of people who played it since. I mean, even TB played in with us in Technical Alpha. I mean, it's it's never gone in that direction.
I jump in and out of that thing, and you know, every time I come to exactly the same goddamn conclusion. You made the Mario Kart of MOBAs, and you refuse to accept that you did.
Yes,
I wish they would. Because that would be so much fun.
That's actually all you need to really do, you know, and like just have fun that way.
That's Blizzard's inherent company problem that I don't think they'll ever address, at least in this phase of their business, which is like, we're the fun, crazy company, and we come up with like kooky ideas, and you know, we don't take our franchises too seriously, but we really actually do.
But we're also an esports.
Everybody wants to get into esports. That's it. I mean, like they're trying.
You've
to
already got
the Overwatch League and all that stuff. They're trying to get into esports, right?
And you've already got your giant Overwatch League that you invested untold millions of dollars into.
God.
Is that not fucking, you know? And you still have StarCraft, which is a legit esport. Is that not enough? Why do you need 4 esports? Actually, 5 esports games.
With Hearthstone,
why do you need that? That's fucking ridiculous.
What TB just said was a point I was going to bring up. It's like it's sort of difficult to say Blizzard's just trying to get into the esports, because StarCraft was the original esport.
Well, no, but that's their problem. I've said this forever. Like because StarCraft was the original big. Like there's other esports, but that was the one that was huge.
Yeah,
it put Blizz on the esports map. And so because they're like, we were here first and we were the big ones, we have to stay. And it's like, you can be there, but like, God, don't burn down everything else just because you're like,
that's fine.
Really keen on being in the industry.
2 is enough.
Still.
2 is enough. You don't need 6. Like, come
That's
on.
not how companies think, though, is it? They're always thinking more. I mean, also, I feel like they didn't design StarCraft to be this big esport. Like, I really don't think they did. Like,
not the original one.
No, they didn't.
Definitely designed. They absolutely designed
game.
2 that way.
Yeah. By the time Brood War came out, I think that they started going more of that direction. But certainly for StarCraft 2, it was that was the main focus was carrying on the esport legacy.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, that was like that was what got me into esports the first time. Was StarCraft 2. Was watching that. I used to watch like Day 9. I used to watch it on Twitch, like that when it was just in TV and everything. Like that was it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm actually watching professional gamers as like commentating. Got me into it in a big way.
Everyone did.
I've never watched a single Blizzard esports since for more than 5 minutes. I'm like,
now
I don't know how people can watch Hearthstone competitively. I've tried. I've really tried. I would rather watch like the WoW arena tournaments at BlizzCon than watch
which are
competitive
unwatchable
Hearthstone.
unless you know what the hell is going
Yeah,
on.
and unless you played WoW, you're not going to know what the heck's going on. You know, but
it's like,
Heroes. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that I don't get excited about Heroes esports, because like I personally really enjoy casting Heroes esports. I like running my own tournaments and stuff.
so
I think
you're
there's
complicit. You're part of the problem, is what you're saying.
I wouldn't say I'm part of the problem, because I don't have any bearing on you know, I'm not a huge community figure, so I don't have any.
Nailing on it, TB. You got it.
No, I don't have any.
You got it.
Nailed him, TB.
I have
He's
no.
sneaking.
I have no weighted impact on the
Get him
Heroes
off.
community. You know, but
He's a
I
shill,
do.
is what he
I
is.
think that I really do think that if Blizzard had taken it less seriously from the start, we would be in a much more amicable position to deal with these sort of community issues or matchmaking, that sort of thing, because people would you would come into the game not expecting a serious esport, but experiencing hey, this is this is like, you know, this is MOBA light. Like I can just jump in here with a friend, we can play. Oh, I don't know who this guy is, but I know who that guy is, you know, and you know, she looks like fun to play with, and you know, run in for a brawl or two, and that'd be it. I mean, I think that if Heroes had started with that outlook, like Jesse was saying earlier, I think that it would be we maybe could get to a much easier evolution of the game than right now, which is just sort of a bastardized MOBA. It really is trying hard and pushing hard to be serious, but
you know what? This is the problem. I think if you look at a lot of esports that have been successful, you've produced a great game, and people have realized it has a very high skill ceiling, and it's become an esport. I mean, Smash Brothers is a perfect example of that. It was a game that was designed nothing to do with esports. In fact, they didn't even want it to be an esport. And the subsequent versions of Smash that are not played competitively, they specifically dumbed it down to make it less esport worthy.
Yeah, they fucked up Brawl on purpose to make sure that you couldn't play it competitively.
And they're like, no, we don't want anything to do with this. And Smash guys are like, no, we are clinging to this. Like, if you go to a Dota event, you will see someone with a CRT TV
playing Smash.
Yeah. And I'm sure you see it at a lot of other events as well. It is. I don't play it. I'm terrible at it. When you watch good Smash players play, it's unbelievable. And this is again, this is a absolute ground up grassroots community esport, and that is where it comes from. Not from a company saying we're going to design this all for you, and it's all, you don't have to worry about anything. It's like the community doesn't feel invested. I mean, Dota was the same way. Dota started off, the first international was at Gamescom. And it was like put on in a tiny arena, and Valve came in and said, "You know what? We're going to support this."
God, did that game look fucking terrible? The way I described it was like, that game looks like a carpet shop.
Yep.
Like the texture work, that's what it looked like. Like, fuck me.
But Pyrion nailed it, though. I mean, that's I feel like if Heroes had started off that way, it could have been like that.
The problem with all the new games coming out, they're like, we are at this huge MOBA
We're an
thing.
esport.
Yeah. All this is it all comes back to the idea of investors and pitching it to people with money, and the idea that like, you should invest in this, or this is going to make our company a lot of money because esports. And they point to one of the many thousands of articles that are like, this year esports made $1 billion, and everyone's like, we can make money off of this, and it's like, but you're not going to make a good game.
And you're not going to
something good first.
Like, there are all these reports that I've seen. I remember I went to York University, oddly enough, are doing a big AI thing, and they're big in Dota. Like, they're doing a big investment in AI in Dota. It's a big story anyway. I went to talk to them, and I said, I went there with warnings more than advice. And I said, here is all the shit you guys will be shown about how massive esports is and the billions of viewers and everything. I'm like, this is all bullshit. Like, you were going to have to pay thousands of dollars. Someone's going to try and talk you into spending thousands of dollars in buying this stupid report that tells you about all this fucking money that there is in esports and all these billions of viewers. They're not going to tell you that's not billions of viewers. That's impressions, which is a big difference. You have a hardcore esports audience, and they know what they want. And if you try to produce artificially this esports experience, they're going to spot it a mile away. They're going to, look at the PUBG thrust itself into the esports world, and everybody was like, esports ready. It's become like a meme around PUBG. You cannot force these things. People will find it.
You'll still get the views anyway because it's huge, you know. But there's very, very few games that can get away with that, you know, because there's no games that are the size of PUBG.
Right.
You know, so they can do the worst esports viewership experience in the history of mankind and still get a good amount of viewers because they are PUBG.
It's still PUBG, right?
Yeah,
people are gonna watch
exactly. So people want to throw money at PUBG because they want to be with the biggest thing. But it's I feel like we loop around on this topic every few months, and it's the same issue every time, which is sad. Hopefully, at some point, that won't be an issue with Heroes, and I'd happily come back and play a bunch of it, because I actually quite like that game. Like, as I sit down, play a few rounds, and I got 3 games done in an hour. That was pretty nice, and I left feeling like, all right, I lost one, but I didn't really care. Like, I didn't feel so invested in losing that game that I'm pissed
Dota,
off.
that's for sure.
No.
That's why I couldn't play Dota anymore. Like one game, you just playing your even.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same problem with StarCraft as well. It's like I'd overanalyze what fucking happened, and then I'd be like, nope, I can't do it. I just can't. I'm done for the night. That's my experience done. Just to move on to one quick news topic before we look at what's coming out this week. This is actually related to something that's coming out this week. There's a port of PayDay 2 coming to Switch, which is...
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear this.
Switch? Like, I think of that as like a kid's platform. No offense, Switch owners, but I'm like, I thought about buying one for my kids because it's like kid friendly.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, they got Doom.
PayDay 2?
Yeah, PayDay 2. Yeah, I mean...
Oh boy.
Well, for one thing, they just got Doom, so I don't think they're necessarily a kids platform. But here's the thing: so they got a Switch, they're getting a Switch version of it, and well, it is 2 years out of date. So the version they ported to the Switch is apparently below update 130. The PC version is currently at update 172. There's various.
I guess it's really hard to port shit to the Switch. Is what the story is.
Yeah. 2 years too hard, I guess.
Various pieces of evidence have been posted as to this. I don't believe this. I don't believe it's currently out yet. So this must have been a review copy, or someone broke street date. I'm just checking when it's out.
How many Switch owners are going to be like, ooh, PayDay 2?
Yeah, it's coming out in a week. I don't know, because one, the online system for the Switch is bollocks. Like, it's absolute bollocks.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
So you know, for a co-op game that requires a pretty solid amount of communication, I cannot imagine the PayDay 2 is going to be anywhere near a good experience on that. Secondly, weak hardware. You're not going to get it running all that well, and it's just such a bizarre choice because it has been, that game has been out for years now, and it seems like it is an attempt by 505 Games, who are the publishers, to get a bit of a cash in on how well the Switch is doing. And I've got no problem with them porting things to the Switch. Port whatever you want. But this is now not the first time that we've seen a bad port come to the Switch. For instance, when we had Nerd Cubed on the show about a month or so ago, he had a good old-fashioned English rant, rightfully so, about the horrific state that WWE 2K18 is on the Switch, to the point where the game runs at literally half normal speed. God. Like, we're talking several minute load times. It takes several minutes to walk down to the ring. And I'm not just talking about the Undertaker's entrance here either. I'm talking about actual normal ones, because they're running at slower speed. The game is full of bugs, completely broken. They've made no effort whatsoever to patch it, and all they did was reduce the price of the game and just left it there. Now, this is interesting to me because we've been a little bit suspect for a while that since the Switch is supposed to have a pretty long shelf life, they're looking at 5 years for this thing. It's going to be a bit of a problem to port quite a lot of these third-party games later down the line. It's already been an issue, apparently, with Hat in Time, that the thing doesn't support Unreal 3 properly, and the only way that Rocket League ever worked on the thing was because the people that worked on Rocket League are actual wizards, and apparently, they knew a lot about Unreal 3, let's just put it that way. So they were able to pull it off, but other companies not so much. I have to wonder how many more problems like this we're going to have, because this wouldn't be the first time on a Nintendo console we've had a really fucking bad ports.
Right.
Like, the Wii was absolutely rife with them. The Wii U a bit less so, because people didn't bother porting to it, because nobody bought the fucking thing. But I have to wonder if we're going to see a lot more of this going forward.
I have one big question, which is The Undertaker still wrestling?
No.
Because the guy must be 1,000,000 years old.
No, he's not still wrestling, but the story would take too long to tell.
Okay.
So
I remember him when I was a kid. Like,
I'm gonna-
I'm
gonna save. I'll save you all the trouble of not going through the story of that. But
Okay.
yeah, and one way or the other, this is people are gonna have to be very careful when buying things on Switch because it's a pretty cool proposition to say I can play a AAA game and I can do it handheld.
Yeah, on the move with
move.
with my friends and stuff. I mean, that's if the internet. I don't own a Switch, so I don't know how bad the internet service is for it. But I mean,
it's horrendous at the moment.
I can't imagine someone has just been waiting for this day of PayDay 2.
Oh, thank God, Payday 2
on my Switch. Like, no, come on.
Does it include any of the DLC? Or I mean,
it's way
Just
behind
let's say
on it.
no.
Let's just say it is apparently missing the Ethan and Healer H3H3 DLC, which is obviously a disaster.
That's hilarious.
A bunch of
Someone
other
in
shit.
chat says Dark Souls on Switch.
That seems like that would be awesome.
Why are you laughing? That was announced.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dark Souls is coming to Switch.
Honestly, I just figure Switch is like for kids. What are the Dark Souls?
You're thinking of
Why
the
not?
Wii, man.
Portable Dark
No,
Souls?
it's for kids. I mean,
You're so
It's
caught
not.
up in the old shit, man. You'll never get it.
This ain't the Wii.
Grandpa.
It really isn't.
it's like for kids, like a little
No.
thing like this. You give it to the kids on the car journeys and on the plane. I mean,
You can if you like, but
On
I
the
mean,
car journeys. And
the
on
Switch,
Yeah.
the Switch for me is a phenomenal console because it lets me game wherever I want, and it lets me game in whatever circumstances that I'm currently in at the time. It gives me flexibility,
you know what
which
the
I
problem
need
is
as an
PC
adult.
Master Race. I'm just a PC
Well, yeah,
master.
and if I need to play something at an extremely high frame rate and resolution and stuff, then I will go to my PC for it, and I won't play stuff on Switch that runs like crap. But there's the nice thing about Switch is the indie library is fucking enormous, and that stuff runs really
I
well.
had no idea. I thought it was just Mario and stuff.
No, you might want to look at the
You're
library.
about to buy that for your kid.
yeah,
I swear to God.
you're not going to
You
let your
would
kid
come
anywhere
home,
near
It
it.
would be all porn. And you would have been like, I thought this was for kids.
You're not,
On the
you're
Switch?
not going to let anywhere near it. Like,
Okay.
the Switch
They
is...
got an Xbox. I'm not going to buy them a fucking Switch.
No,
Jesus.
buy yourself a Switch and play a bunch of indies on it, because it's got a shit ton of really good indie games on it.
Yeah.
Dude, I never leave the house.
My buddy
Okay.
loves.
That's it. I don't travel.
Yeah, but do you sit on a couch? Or
No.
You never sit on a couch? Do you
No.
ever leave your office?
As little as possible.
Okay, maybe the Switch isn't aimed at
It's
you.
not for me. I'm literally going to live it next to my PC.
Now,
that's it.
if you had asked me a few years ago, I would have probably answered the same. But lately,
Right.
like the flexibility of the Switch and be like, my back fucking
Right.
kills.
Yeah.
I want to be
What-
on the couch or in bed right now, but I
Right.
want to keep fucking gaming. The Switch
go.
is a
Perfect.
godsend. It's a godsend.
So
Yeah,
what you're
one of-
saying is when I get older, TB, and my back gives out,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
when you
older,
turn
great,
into me, you know,
I'll be switching it.
a 34-year-old in a 70-year-old man's body, then
I'll be switching it.
you'll be switching it. Trust me.
Okay.
You'll be
Okay.
switching.
Yeah, it has one of my best friends. He has the Switch port of the Binding of Isaac, and I've played it. It's quite
It's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
There's a lot of good shit on there. There's good indies coming out every week on that system. It's pretty great.
Fair enough.
Who knew that the Switch would all of a sudden be this indie haven for things to get
I
ported
called
on?
this over a year ago. I just want to point out.
Oh, did you really? Okay.
That's on record on the show. Like I specifically said the Switch is an indie machine.
It happened. I was there.
Right. Yep, I was right.
Is anyone doubting him?
Well, no, certainly no one is now, considering
people-
the amount of money.
People doubted me when I said I was the progenitor of the Asmodunk skin in Heroes. I was like, it's on my YouTube. Go look at it. You can find the
You
name.
may-
Progenitor?
You may
I
very well.
doubt that you have ever used the word progenitor before. I doubt that.
I mean, I doubt that too. That is not
What?
something you would use in a regular conversation.
Progenitor?
Progenitor.
Unless you were actually a space marine.
Yeah,
I
but
am.
you
In
were
which
some
case-
sort of spaceman.
You
No.
are not really a space marine.
You guys know nothing about me.
So wait, the
That's
basketball,
what I did last week.
I'll be true.
The
He's right.
basketball
I'll be
skin
true.
is-
He's right. He's
the
right.
basketball, you came up with that,
Yeah.
or did you just say, it'd be cool if they had a basketball skin?
Well, the way that I described it when Asmodee came out is exactly how it came out. It is. You can go look it up.
Did get in touch with you?
All right.
No.
Well, in that case,
I want to hear confirmation from Blizzard or from Asmodee himself before I believe this.
Present evidence on Twitter. Hey, present evidence, or it didn't happen.
Hold on. Hey, don't look. I will. I'm totally here, guys. What's up?
I will link you.
Hey, Asmodan, what's up?
I will link you the link.
What's going on, bro?
All right, Asmodan. Sinvicta claims that he was the one who came up with the basketball skin that you're wearing. Is this true?
Yeah, we were getting real high one night, and he was like, bro.
Well, that's definitely not me.
Wouldn't it be funny if you wore a basketball jersey? And I was like, yeah. So I did. It was awesome.
That's amazing. Thank you.
He left. He just left.
Shout out to Asmodan for dropping in.
There you go.
Thanks for stopping by.
Only the best guests on this
Lord
show,
of Sin.
Indeed. Only the best guests on this show. All right. Let's get some releases down the pipe, shall we? Of which there's a couple of things here and there, and some that are not good.
When we say the pipe, we're talking about the toilet, right? Because, I mean, I'm looking
at
this.
A lot of this is the toilet, yes.
Oh, my God.
A lot of it is the toilet. I will happily admit that. But we have highlighted some, and Jesse has highlighted some. I don't know why.
I found one. I found one game that I thought was interesting. I'm gonna let you know. Usually, the way I roll with this is something interesting. Just the concept of interesting.
Fair. Yeah.
I went through this entire list and found nothing that was like, oh, that looks interesting, except for one game, which is the most it has one sort of bit about it, which is really stupid for me to say.
Yeah.
But it has one sort of gimmick. But yeah, if you want me to start, I'll start on that one.
Well,
I've
got one before that. I have a feeling this is a mistake, because there is actually no release list on this yet. For some reason, it is on our release list. I do not know why, but it is there, and that is Aita, which is the Shield Maiden isometric Dark Souls-y-like thing that we've been waiting for quite some time. That, for some reason, I don't know why that's on the release list, because I haven't heard of it coming out today. So if it randomly shows up today, surprise, but I don't think it's actually coming out. It's just the release list is incorrect. So, Jesse, your entry here is Monte Crypto.
Yeah. No, real talk. Monte Crypto, the Bitcoin Enigma, is straight up just a puzzler. Again, I go by is this interesting? It's a puzzle game that has puzzles that are supposed to be very, very, very difficult, and you're supposed to work with others to try and solve them, and whoever wins and beats the game first gets 1 Bitcoin.
Oh, that's this game. Yeah, I had heard a blip about this lately, that there was the first person to beat the game gets a Bitcoin, which currently is worth about $11,000.
So yeah, and just to show you how crazy Bitcoin is, when the trailer for this game came out, it said Bitcoin was 9,000 something.
Yeah.
So
it's been on the rise over the last week or so.
It went up, it went down again.
That's what it does.
The whole point of this is it's a very, very difficult puzzle game using a first-person view, and apparently there's things in the real world that you have to use to figure out the puzzles.
Oh, so it's an ARG as well.
Yeah, I just saw the VR code come up.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
I mean, it smells a bit like a scam, but honestly, it is intriguing.
Oh, I agree too. To me, it smells like this. There's a gimmick here that then leads you down. Now you're a Russian bot. I have no idea how this works. I don't quite get it, but I think it's fascinating, and I like the idea that they literally are like, "Hey, streamers, play this with your your audience, your viewers, and win money." I think that's fascinating, and I don't know if it'll be any good, but.
Probably not, but it's not the first time this has been done. This was done a lot in the 80s and 90s as well with, send evidence you're beating this game and you win money and stuff like that. There's some crazy stories about that.
There are. There was one where it was
Ashens, I believe.
Actual treasure hunt. The guy had buried stuff somewhere in the UK. I don't think it was ever solved, actually.
It was, I believe. I can't remember. Ashens did a video on it. His video was fascinating about it. You go. I can't remember the name of it, but look for Ashens buried treasure. You might find it.
That's why I liked about the game Oxenfree. In that game, they had a real life ARG, and you could go do there was an actual moment where people went to an island in Washington State and treasure hunted because there was shit.
That's pretty
like
incredible.
they pinpointed where the island was. Yeah, I got videos and everything.
That
It's
is pretty
crazy.
cool, I have to admit.
Yeah.
All right, the next game on the list. So this was in alpha a while ago, and this is one of the few games where I've actually just quit on stream because it was just a mess. Like, and it is the sort of card-based tactics game made by the guys that made Smite. They decided to make a, put units on a map tactics collectible game, which is up my alley. It's my kind of game. And I thought, hey, Smite is a perfect IP for that, because you've already got tons of cool gods and associated mythologies. But it was nowhere near ready. Apparently, this is their official launch, so I think I will try it again. What I played of it, past all of the buggy, horrible shit, seemed like it had legs, so I will have another look at it.
It looks pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Cool.
I just think it's a good IP. You can take a bunch of mythical gods and throw them into pretty much anything. As we saw, they literally made a kart racing game at one point in Smite, and it was actually really fun. So there you go. All right, outside of that today, we've got a couple of console releases. Switch gets Puzzle Poppers. Yay. There you go. There's your reason.
Woo!
There's an Armored Warfare is finally coming out for PS4, which is Obsidian's modern kind of tank game. Metal Gear Survive is hitting PS4 today. The PS4 and Vita version of Deadbolt, which are quite good. And The Station is hitting PC and PlayStation 4, which looks like quite an interesting sort of first-person, weird, puzzly mystery game, which looked pretty neat. I think there was an ACG video that came out about that today if you want to find out more. It's a first-person sci-fi mystery set on a space station, and it looks like it could be pretty legit.
I did play Prey. That was decent. I enjoyed
Prey.
Prey.
Is fucking
that's
great.
An old title, but yeah, I enjoyed that.
Oh, it only came out last year, and by the way, it's well worth a look. If you have the time, if you got 20, 30 hours lying around, Prey is fucking brilliant. Absolutely love that thing. I just never got the chance to really get into it because it showed up at the wrong time. Let me just put it that way. Wrong place, wrong time, as so many games do. February the 21st, we could not find anything other than Abandoned Ship, which is when that hits early access. So that's the 21st. Like I said, I played it, and I like it. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the early access version. I'm intrigued. I might actually just stop playing it, because it might end up being in one of those situations where, like a Darkest Dungeon kind of thing, you want to wait for them to finish it properly instead of playing it early.
Yeah.
Outside of that, nothing really on the 21st. 22nd, Metal Gear Survive, the PC version, is out, I believe. Has anyone even tried that? Like, I've heard so little about it, other than the obvious FUD and hate for Konami. I have not actually heard if it's any good. So I would love to know if this game is actually worth playing.
I've heard the extremes. I've heard it's an incredible game, and I've also heard that it's like just awful.
Metal Gear Survive?
Yeah.
I haven't played a Metal Gear game in years, so...
All right. I don't think it's going to resemble any of the Metal Gear games you played. It's very much a multiplayer game, I think. It's a mix of stealth action with exploration and survival for a bold new experience or whatever. And obviously people hate it by default because of the way Konami treated Hideo Kojima, etc. But I'm just intrigued. I might just give it a shot, sight unseen, and see how it ends up turning out. Because I have a feeling it's probably nowhere near as bad as people are pretending. Outside of that, looking pretty clear on that day. A couple of Switch releases. Pac-Man Championship Edition 2 Plus is coming out on Switch. If you want that for whatever reason, along with Space Cats with lasers and so on and so forth. Yes.
Yeah, man. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah, great. Really great. Moving on to February the 23rd. We couldn't find anything on PC, honestly. Unless we did. Unless you like Sword Art games, which you shouldn't, because Sword Art is the worst. There is, however, a Switch release of Toki Tori 2, which is quite entertaining. So you might want to have a quick look at that. February.
I'm going to say the biggest problem with a lot of these games is terrible names.
Yeah.
Dusk of Confinement. What does that
The
mean?
fuck does that even mean? I'm curious
Dusk
now.
of confinement, not dust. Dusk. What is that?
Dusk of confinement.
dusk
I'm looking it up right now. Let's find out.
Before
It's yet
the dawn.
it's yet another one
Yeah.
of those shitty survival horrors. Like there's 20
kind
of
of
these a week.
nightish.
There's 20 of these a week.
Oh,
I'm looking at a game called Earthworms, and you would think that it had something to do with earthworms, but it's a artistic point and click adventure game.
Of course it is. What else would it be?
yeah, it is. What the fuck?
There's one on here called Injured by Space. I like, how the fuck did that happen?
I have to see this. I have
Of
to see
all the
this
things
now.
you get injured by, you actually get injured by space?
Space.
Oh
look
my
at it.
god, that is
Look at
ridiculous.
it.
Oh, it's a
That's
BBC.
a game.
That's a BBC
Injured.
micro game. In fact, that's
That
even
is.
worse.
I
Why?
can't believe it. Look at that.
That is.
How many people will buy that?
I mean, he's right. My eyes have been injured by space. Moving swiftly on.
Injured by space.
Blackbeard's Cove. We have a suggestion here. Wait.
Yeah.
Didn't this show up last
Looks-
week?
Did it?
It might have.
Well,
What
I
the-
just looked at it because you would think that, oh, it's got to be something with pirates, but instead it looks like someone took some
This
assets
looks
from GTA
fucking
5
bizarre. Yeah.
and took a mini game out of it. Because
I like
the
how-
dude's like driving a car.
I like how under what the developers have to say, it's just a series of dots.
Yeah.
That's
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 it.
just perfect. What the actual fuck is that?
Tyrion, he nailed it when he was like, he said there used to be quality control on Steam. It's like,
It's
Can you just look at
There really
Let's
wasn't.
Be Architects and read the description, which is, in quotes, Let's Be Architects is a pretty casual game made for bringing, no G on the end, the players with a funny and enjoyable gameplay.
oh
Not
my
enjoyable,
God.
Enjoyable for the internet. It makes
And look at-
sense.
Look at the game. I don't even know how this is a game. I mean, what? I can't imagine they'd
Well,
sell a single
apparently the
copy of it.
minimalist graphics fit perfectly with the style of gameplay.
oh,
I just don't
So
understand.
they claim.
oh
What
no.
is that?
There's a lot of
What
junk.
is this?
A lot of junk.
There's a game called The Binding of You.
Yes.
Okay.
Very excited for that.
Do I
one.
want to know? Do I really want to know?
No.
Well,
No.
click on Capture the Monster.
It's a rogue-like story about you as an ice-cold human being fighting your inner... Oh my god.
Please click
Wow.
on Capture the Monster. You have to see
Capture the monster. Okay, okay.
Oh my
As you can
God.
tell, there's not a lot coming out this week. Capture the... what the fuck
Where is
is
I don't even see Capture the Muncher. Where is it?
Joel, just type it in. Capture the monster. It's an indie game based on drawing lines to capture monster that move around the map.
Look at that.
Wow.
Like,
just can't
here's
believe
the
it.
thing. Like, I'd be upset about this stuff, but really, the only time anybody ever gets to know about these games is because we tell them.
The segment.
Yeah.
They do not appear for normal people. They do not. However, there is actually something on February the 26th I'd like to
Yes!
point out, and that is Vicious Attack Llama Apocalypse,
Oh, finally.
which
Hell yeah. Hell
actually
yeah.
looks like it could be quite a lot of fun. The world's best mass llama slaughter rogue-like light-ish couch co-op twin-stick top-down shooter. This, I actually got sent code for this last week. South African developer, I think. Just a couple of them making this. Actually looks fucking hilarious.
Wow.
They even have their fucking trailer has a guy in a llama mask doing a sort of Mr. Robot kind of anonymous thing. It's quite the thing. Apparently, like, it all started off as a joke and then they turned it into an actual game. So yeah, that actually might be quite a lot of fun depending on what
It's
the price
quite
tag
the
is.
thing.
It is quite the thing.
It's quite the thing.
It is a thing that exists.
It is a thing.
Finally.
It is
On the
quite.
27th, TB, we have a game.
We do, but that is next week on the Tuesday, which means it doesn't count.
Oh!
You,
So,
you
we'll-
screwed the
we'll-
pooch period.
We'll mention it. We'll
Oh.
mention it anyway. Into the breach. Into the breach.
Yeah.
Yep. Keep an eye out for Into the Breach, ladies and gents, because that's the real game, and that's coming next week. So maybe rather than buying any of this, unless ATA actually does come out today, which is highly unlikely, just save up for into the breach instead, you're probably going to have more luck with that.
I'm definitely going to look at Abandoned Ship, though, because that game does
Yes.
sort of
Yeah.
Looks
interest me.
legit. Yeah.
Yeah, Abandoned Ship is legit from what I've played so far. Like I said, I don't know if it's maybe a little bit easy or if there's just a broken strat in it or if I'm just not far enough of the game for it to challenge me yet. But
Yours too good. Too good.
well, I mean, I
TP.
did play a lot of FTL, and it does play quite a lot like that, so maybe it is that. But there we go! That is us done for the Corruptional Podcast today, but before we go, I would love to tell you what's going on our channels. What are we doing? Pyrion Flax, who fought through illness to be here. Finally, we get you back after 3 years. Would love to have you back.
It's a bit rich, you saying
Once
that
again?
I'm forcing through illness to be here. I'm just streaming. I just stream pretty much every day. If you want to tune in, if you're in the UK time zone, I stream in the morning sometimes. Most days, I'd say, mainly Dota. I play a lot of Squad. There was a new update for Squad. If you're a fan of tactical shooters, version 10 of Squad is fantastic. Play a lot of that. A lot of Dota, a lot of CSGO, and pretty much whatever takes my fancy. So YouTube, I do upload stuff to YouTube, but it's all stuff taken from my stream. So if you want to see it firsthand, step by twitch.tv/Pyrion Flax.
Go and have a look. Sinvicta, thank you very much for filling in for Dodger today, who was not able to be here due to a family visit. She'll hopefully be back next week. But what's coming up on your channel this week? What's going on?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. Like I said, I've just started the 4th season of my Darkest Dungeon playthrough, where I'm doing like community viewer challenges, so you get to actually pick like the restrictions that I have to complete in the rest of the week. Also, of course, is playing Isaac Slay the Spire. You can check me out over at twitch.tv/Sinvicta. I stream Wednesday through Saturday, and I will have my graphics or my capture card back for Monster Hunter World, so that's coming back this week. And probably Jesse, myself, and maybe Krendor when he's back from his gallbladder surgery, playing more Civ 6. And check out my band as well, sinvicta.bandcamp.com. New song coming out soon.
Very cool. Jesse, what you got?
Y'all do too much. This week, man, I probably will stream a bunch, and then some stuff on the channel. Some fun.
Are you touching
cool
Kingdom
kid
Come?
stuff.
Because it does seem like it actually would be up your alley.
I have not touched it once. I assume maybe I'll get there, but
Big RPG. It's
yeah, I just have
lots of
so much
choices.
stuff, like other games that I want to check out besides a giant ass art. That's the problem. Is there's a bunch of games and huge RPGs equal a lot of time, and it's just I don't.
That doesn't help. That really does not help that much. I must admit. Yeah. Oh well, never mind. As me, I've got some things in mind that hopefully I'll be able to get out over the next week. We still need to play Full Metal Furies together. We're working on that. We keep meaning to get together to play it. Keep meaning to get together to play that one, and I'll probably take a look at Abandoned Ship once the streaming and video embargo is up, which I think is tomorrow. I actually think I probably wasn't supposed to talk about that today. Whoops. I won't mention it if you don't. But anyway, there will be that. I would like to remind people, if you are subscribed to the channel, that we just sent out our first discount code for the merch store. You can get 10% off absolutely everything for as long as you are subscribed to the channel. If you did not get the email, which apparently a bunch of people didn't because Twitch breaks a lot, we will be sending it out again, and we'll send it out regularly, probably once a week over the next few weeks to make sure that new subscribers get it. So you'll be getting weekly updates on that. So head on over there because we have a new t-shirt design dropping quite soon. So you may wish to keep an eye out for that one. And also some exciting news coming your way from GOG at some point in the not too distant future. Not quite ready to tell you about that just yet, but it will mean some cool videos on some old games that I really like. So that's coming your way at some point. I think that's about it, unless we've forgotten something. We probably have.
I got through the entire show without saying cream of the crop who.
Well, too late now.
Actually,
you've
you
ruined
just
it.
said it.
To be fair, you also didn't pronounce it correctly, so...
Oh, sorry, my bad. Cream of the crop.
No.
There we go. That's our diversity quota fulfilled. For today, thank you, Twitch. We are done. Thank you very much for watching, folks. And thank you to our sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace.com/cooptional for 10% off your first order and a free trial. So easy a dog could do it. Nobody knows that you're a dog. I certainly hope that you are a dog. Like, I would respect you more if you were. Let me just put
Dogs
it
are
that
great.
way. So just bear that in mind the next time you try and talk to me on Twitter. Thank you very much, folks. We'll see you next time. Goodbye!
See ya.